Shit, what are we doing? So this weekend, on the part of Michigan, Ohio State, the big rivalry, I want that to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, the 1 versus 4, Georgia is by
a
far the
powerhouse.
best team. They just have all the studs, and I want Ohio State. I'm rooting for
With
Ohio
their
State.
30-year-old quarterback in Stenson.
Yes, he's been in the league since he's been a college quarterback. I think since I graduated college 10 years
Easily.
ago. So he's I don't know. They
Yeah.
never really even need the quarterback for Georgia. It's all about the star players, the skill players,
Yep.
and they're just the best. Them and Bama every year.
Oh wait, I didn't get a clear-cut decision from you.
He's picking. I think
You're
he's
picking
I have to pick Georgia,
Georgia?
No.
but I want Ohio State to win, truly, just for the big matchup.
All right, so you're picking the Georgia Bulldogs just strictly on you're going to make money on that bet. But you want Ohio State? Your heart tells you Ohio State?
On the point of picking who I think is going to win the game,
Yeah.
Georgia.
Okay.
Their favorite.
But who
the
you
number one
want
team.
to win is Ohio.
Ohio State, and I believe the line was 8.
I think you're right.
And the problem is these games are traditionally, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel like almost every single time we get to a playoff, they're hardly ever close, except for maybe the last few years.
Yeah, because
usually blowouts.
You've got one team that's not had to face any hard competition for 3 weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
Georgia really hasn't had a hard game since when? I can't even remember.
Well, they didn't play Bama in the SEC final.
Nope,
'cause Bama
they did
didn't
not.
make it.
They played LSU, who's a 14-ranked team, and
Yeah.
they crushed them 50-30.
Yeah.
The week before that, that's the weird part about college football is their schedules are kind of sort of jacked up. They play these games that are meaningless games
Yes.
just to get the win. And granted, Georgia plays in the SEC, which is a hard division, a hard
It's
conference.
a tough conference. Yeah. It's probably it is the number one conference, so to speak.
But they
of
may play
college football.
4 games that are against
Yeah, they're
Division
stud.
1 teams.
Like Citadel.
Exactly. I could beat Citadel.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even play football, but I'm pretty sure I could put together a ragtag team that could beat Citadel.
They lob those in there on purpose to get money and just to get the easy wins.
Yeah.
And you're right, because I think that they do, especially Georgia, when they get big, Clemson does this a lot. They play hardly anybody, especially them because they're in the ACC.
Right, ACC.
And it's like, okay, they're great teams. And they get to it's just about one performance. Who's going to be the best player? And,
Right.
I mean, Ohio State, like you said, they play in the Big Ten. Big Ten's getting a lot better.
A lot better.
A lot better. And they
Purdue's
look
showing
good.
up. You've got a ton of teams that are decent games every
Yes.
week. If you look at their schedules, I
Plus
always
eight's
look
a lot.
for the Big Ten matchups because
Yeah.
you're going to get 2 powerhouses that are going to play a really tight game.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think somebody like Ohio State or a Michigan, they get lucky. They can win 2 games. That's not a difficult task. I'm hoping. I'm
So
going to go for.
obviously you're picking Michigan.
I want to see. Oh yeah, Michigan.
So you
easily.
got you're picking Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah.
You're picking Georgia. Who else? You got
Well-
Michigan or TSU?
For the sake of making this
Interesting. You're
Interesting.
gonna take
for the
TSU?
sake of making this little bit that we do, I don't know, we can have this being a recurring thing.
Yeah.
I fucking love Max Duggan and TCU.
Okay.
But I wouldn't bet against Michigan. So I would take Michigan and Ohio, or not Ohio State. I would take Georgia and Michigan to win the games. I'd actually take Ohio State probably to cover +8, and I would like them to win and then to play Michigan. But for the sake of this,
Okay. You're
I
going to
love-
take both dogs?
I'll take the dogs. No,
No,
you're taking the dog. Technically, I'm taking the dogs in the first one, but you're taking
True.
the underdogs.
The Bulldogs.
Dogs, go dogs! And yes, so that's kind of even. I'll take the 1 and the 3 seed. You get the 2.
I'll take 2,
and the
4.
4. So
right.
somewhat even. I
So,
feel
all right.
good about Max Duggan. So this is what I would say about TCU though.
Okay.
So I've never watched their
Weak
games
conference.
over the years. It is a weak conference,
Weak
and they
conference.
should have probably won it had the coach Sonny Dykes not fucking ran the ball with his running back 3 straight times on the goal line and not giving the ball to his best player who led him down to the goal line the entire game, Max Duggan. Now, this guy, he's probably not going to go to the NFL. At least he's
Which
not
guy?
ranked to.
That guy. No,
Dugan?
this guy.
This guy, not
Not
that
this guy. Not this guy.
That guy.
That guy.
The other guy. This other Max Dougie dude. But I've seen every single time he plays, and they're on TV a lot because they get these huge, high-scoring, exciting-ass games where they
Yep.
always win at the end. He's fucking bleeding. He's out there limping around, still making runs, running through people, trying to chuck people. He's not really that big. He's not built like a Josh Allen or
No.
Cam Newton, but he plays like he is. He's an absolute gamer. That's the only reason that it could be close, but Michigan should roll.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so in your scenario, Johnny Akers, who you taking in the Bulldogs TSU game?
the Dogs.
Yeah, you'd have to take
You think the Dogs?
At that point, it would be
All
the
right.
greatest college football miracle Max Duggan had ever done, and he might catapult himself into getting drafted. If he has a good game this weekend, he might be able to get drafted from it.
Yeah, well, it depends on the combine, but
Yeah.
yes, he has potential to. He has the most potential to gain.
Yes.
I think Stenson doesn't. He can't get any bigger than what he's at right now. He's not going to be. He's got to be a senior. The guy's 40 years old.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But he wouldn't be projected to get drafted, right? He probably would end up in
No.
like the XFL or something.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
third, fourth round.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
Where I think Max has an
Yeah,
opportunity
because
to.
he's led that team the whole year. You watch those games; they're
Yeah.
almost every single time his defense is either letting him down or he has to come back and have a crazy final drive, and he does. Like that is a skill that doesn't show up at the combine. It really
Right.
doesn't.
So-
And people watch that out of Joe Burrow. He was ranked really low before he was playing for LSU, but led them all the way to a national championship. I don't think he was.
got himself
the number one pick.
a career opportunity.
Yeah, he's pretty damn good. But I wouldn't put Duggan in that category just yet because he's got to win.
Okay.
So in his weird scenario of Georgia and TSU, who do you have?
Oh, Georgia. Georgia's got to win.
Okay, and then in you're still sticking with Michigan?
Michigan, Ohio State,
Ohio
and
State's
the
gonna be the
national
greatest
championship.
game. Just,
I
dude,
think everybody in the world's going to talk about that more than the fucking World Cup.
Okay.
I think that Michigan will beat Ohio State back-to-back games.
No shit.
Yep. I'm pulling Michigan.
And so
run the course.
You agree with that with Johnny Akers with the Michigan running the fucking board?
truthfully root for Michigan because they haven't won in a long time. Ohio State's won a bunch in the last 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So for the Michigan fans, and I know a lot of them,
Yeah.
it would be awesome. I also love Jim Harbaugh.
Jim
I think he's
Harbaugh is-
maybe one of the most underrated, greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah.
He does everywhere he
Wow,
goes. He is the man.
He took San Francisco to a NFC championship.
Yep,
He took him to the Super Bowl.
Lost to his brother. No big deal. Awkward at Thanksgiving, but it's still
But
he's still good
you're,
enough.
you're flopping though. You're going to Michigan.
I-
You're not going to stay with Ohio like you did before.
So, I mean, the only reason I think they have the better quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big difference. But in college, it almost doesn't mean as much in big games because anybody can step up and
Yeah.
play well in those. And, dude, I mean in that scenario, and I'm hoping it happens because it would be the biggest fucking college national championship game ever.
No.
Without no buildup, it's the biggest rivalry in college football, and they're
I think
playing
it
for
would
the
be-
national championship.
I
That's
would think
insane.
it would be bigger than like the Texas versus USC game, the number one versus
That
number
was
two.
the greatest game that I even still remember watching that
Yeah.
game as a kid because it was that memorable.
So,
Vince Young,
I think if
Reggie
Michigan
Bush.
plays Ohio State this has to be what the commentators are looking for. Like
Absolutely.
this is what
that's
media
what the referees
is
are going to look for.
exactly.
That's what the officials are going to look for. Watch out for, and I don't going to give
Little
anything to
extra
Ohio
penalties.
State. I think Michigan should beat TCU on their own accord. But
Yeah.
watch out for some calls in the Georgia
Yeah, some creepy.
Ohio State game because they might really want the Ohio State-Michigan final.
Which
one?
game
I
plays
was just
first?
about to say which one is first because
Oh, look it up.
I
Give me
want
one
to
second.
say
It
I
is
want to
the
say the
Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl if you're looking it up, or the Fiesta Bowl.
Yep.
I believe they're both on the 31st, and
They
I
are
believe
both
that the
Saturday, yeah.
Chick-fil-A is first.
There's also the Music City Bowl. I don't want to give
There's
it
a
away,
Sugar Bowl,
but I have a lock in
Music
that
City
one
Bowl.
too. I changed up.
Yeah, I
all
only
my
took
bets.
1 through 4 for those bowls.
So TCU Michigan plays at 4:00 on ESPN. The line is 7.5.
Why are you
Michigan
giving them fucking
Yeah.
free props on our podcast?
I'm
bro?
just saying.
Fuck ESPN.
and
Fuck
Michigan,
Aspen.
Ohio State, Michigan, or Ohio State, Georgia. They play at 8 p.m. on a four-letter station.
Four-letter station of,
like
of sports.
NENS.
NESN, the Northeastern Sports Network.
Yeah,
they
that
probably
one.
they probably have a podcast.
They're on that
on
one,
it, too.
and that's at 8 o'clock.
I mean, if they
And the line-
want us to mention them on this
Who's
fucking
doing the radio on
podcast,
that one?
they can fucking.
Who's doing the
Western
radio?
one.
Western one.
Uh,
I love those guys. Are actually good. Kevin Harlan does a good job on the radio.
all
I'm
right,
driving around the car, but yeah,
good.
I like that. I like that idea of having that big game be the final this year, and I think a lot of other people would agree.
Oh, it would be huge. It
Uh,
would.
only watching the Michigan Ohio State game because of the previous bet,
Yeah,
I would watch that game because that was a great fucking.
it was a good game.
It was a
was.
great fucking.
Michigan pulled away at the end.
It did,
Yeah, but
it
that's
was
what
the
you're
same
looking at.
thing as the Bills Dolphins game. That was a great fucking game.
That was
No matter how bad you look at it, it was a great fucking
That
game.
was one of the better football games I've ever watched on TV, and I fucking should have been at the game, but I decided to go be a good buddy to my friends in college. If either of you guys are listening to it, they know. couple buddies have been listening to this. I appreciate the listening, but fuck you. You made me miss one of the greatest games in Buffalo Bills history.
Fuck you. You wouldn't give me your tickets even though you knew you weren't going, you
I
asshole.
sold them.
I know. Well, fuck you, man.
Good price. Those Bills tickets are absolutely insane.
I know,
You watched
but I
it on
could've
TV.
been
I mean,
It started snowing and shit.
I said it 2 hours before the game when they were showing it because it was a great day of football. It was the same day as the greatest comeback of all time, which I think is a complete anomaly of itself. Not to get off on another tangent, but the greatest comeback of all time was clinched against the team that Frank Reich was fired by.
Yeah.
And they beat his record.
Yeah, that got a little weird there. If you're looking at some stat lines, that's a little weird. He got fired, and then all of a sudden,
And then the greatest comeback happens against the team that fired him.
All right, let's stop talking about the fucking past.
Full
of the
circle
goddamn-
I'm more
fucking
interested
life.
in Matt Ryan here.
I'm
How
more
does Matt
interest-
Ryan feel? I mean, he literally, his team was leading by 60 points in 2 games, and his defense couldn't show up, and his offense stopped playing the game. How does a guy lose 2 of the worst? They're the biggest downfalls in sports. Is a playoff game or a Super Bowl?
That was the Super Bowl, biggest comeback in Super Bowl history, and then
on,
he just gave up the biggest comeback.
Was it
ever.
Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? When was that game?
That game was a couple weeks ago. It was the same day as the Dolphins game.
Bills
Dolphins game.
So,
Six-
Saturday.
Yeah, it was
It was
Saturday before.
Okay, again, fuck it, shits the bed. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey Matt Ryan, do you want to play today? No,
Well,
I'm good.
maybe he's got the Tua syndrome.
Tua.
I mean, look at what fucking happened to Tua. The Green Bay Packers. He
Listen.
played in the game with a concussion.
We'll talk about that later.
We're talking about that now.
You want to talk? You want to talk?
We want to
We're
bring
talking-
up Mr. Tua?
We're bringing up Mr. Tua.
All right. So for those who don't know, Mr. Tua has officially gotten 4 concussions in 3 football games, and he's missing this week's.
Is it 4 or 3?
It's 4.
It's
think-
documented as
2.
2.
Yeah,
Okay.
2
Well,
concussions.
Tua.
Yeah.
But it's at least 3.
It's
Potentially
at least
4. I didn't
3.
know there was a 4th one.
there was a Bill in the Bills game.
Yeah.
He had a concussion in the
That
Bills
one
game.
was what I counted. That was
He
one.
got 2 concussions in the or was it one when he
one
had
in the Cincinnati
was
game.
throwing the gang signs?
Yes, that
They're
was
calling
the
that
worst
one concussion.
That was the first one. And
Okay.
then this is the second time, and I watched the one against the Packers. I saw it when his head hit the fucking ground live, but they never replayed that, and he never said anything, and no one else apparently ever said it, even though his fucking head bounced off
His
the
head
ground.
bounced.
Off
What?
the fucking ground.
How are the
No spotters.
How is the spotter? Hey,
No
dude, you got
spotters.
one job. You watch the quarterback. He's the guy with the ball. Why are you not watching him hit his head on the ground?
I don't know what my opinion is, because everyone fucking talks about the
Is this a little
Dolphins.
conspiracy?
No one. Ring the bell. I can't reach it. I'm kind of lower now. I'll have to get up and get used to my bell ringing stance in this
Yeah.
new chair. But it's because everyone wants the Dolphins to be good, and they are a popular story right now, one way or the other. Whatever way you look at it, you're either a Tua believer or a Tua hater. It sells. Everyone fucking talks about it constantly.
You know why I'm
We
a
throw
Tua
in this
believer?
concussion idea.
Because it's the only way they win is with Tua.
Exactly.
So
And he's as a Bills fan, I honestly, truthfully, swear to God, feel bad for the guy because
for
I can
sure.
completely understand why you would still want to play, especially as a guy that was raised like that.
Yeah.
In a very strict family.
I don't know.
His dad is insane.
His dad is really strict with playtime and focus on
So it's
football.
Tiger Woods' dad.
Yeah,
Maybe
very
even
similar,
worse.
even worse.
All right.
So he wants to play, and I give him credit because when he's in there, he makes them a better team. I never thought I would say it, but he truly does.
He did
make
that
them
at
a better team.
Alabama too.
He could have beat the Bills. He played good enough to beat the Bills until maybe the last drive, and then he started.
when he got concussed, probably in the Bills game.
No.
No.
This was the second one.
No,
he
the
might
second
have.
game.
It just
I don't
started to
know,
snow.
but Fucking
That was
Green
all.
Bay, fucking in the Green Bay game, he was lit the fire
Yeah,
off.
that is
in the
a
first
shit-
half, and
another
then the second
investigation.
half, he just 3 interceptions in a fucking row. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Nobody
Honestly-
thought something was wrong.
He might not be that good. He almost was benched at Alabama
He was the second string originally. And
Yeah.
He came in relief of Jalen Hurts.
of Jalen
But,
Hurts,
but
which
still,
is good.
if you're throwing 229 yards and you miss like 5 completions in the first half, and then you come out in the second half and throw 3 straight interceptions,
Three straight
nobody,
drives.
3 straight drives. Nobody fucking looks at you and be like, "Yo, you good?"
So today,
Not a lineman goes be like, "Yo, you good?"
Mostert came out today and
Yeah.
he said in the huddle, and they didn't print this really a lot of places, and it was only a couple people who picked up on the story. They said, I'd have to look it up. I could do it in the next break or whatever. But he was quoted as saying afterwards, yeah, I mean, it kind of made sense. Like, there was times where we were in the huddle and no one knew what to do. And everyone was kind of like, what's going on?
I'm telling you.
Because he was probably fucking out of it.
Yeah.
And his head coach, McDaniels, or what is it?
Mike McDaniels.
Mike McDaniels?
Nerd.
He's got...
Mike, it's...
Is it Josh's brother? Is it Josh's, like, second cousin?
It's actually...
Daniels.
I imagine it's that guy on the field. That's what I imagine, is Mike McDaniels is that guy on the field.
A little bit.
Like,
a little bit.
If he shaved, I think it would be the same spitting image.
Yeah.
I think his coach is covering for him. I think he's able to create some plays that benefit Tua. I mean, that's his job. It's to make the game easier for a quarterback. Yes. The problem is, I don't think Tua is that good of a quarterback who can't fucking stop not hitting his head on the ground.
Yeah, he has just like this ragdoll syndrome.
Is he soft, or did he just get too many hits by his dad?
So
now figuring out about his dad and seeing how fucking aggressive and hearing how aggressive he is, if he's harder than Tiger Woods' dad. Tiger Woods' dad was fucking hard.
Yeah.
So if he was harder than that, you know he's going to be a D-line rushing his son.
Probably.
At some point, right? So how many, at 12 years old, how many concussions does this kid have already?
Who knows what his career was before.
Yeah. And now at Alabama, he went to college at Alabama. They don't fucking do concussion protocol in college. At least
they do now.
Not the extensive that NFL does.
No, because
this dude has probably have.
So what do you do with him? He clearly has.
He's prone to injury. You gotta let him go.
You gotta cut him.
As a Dolphins, you gotta let him go. And he's a liability.
He completely is a liability.
You bring in Teddy Bridgewater. You finish out the season. You go fucking. I probably 10-8.
Okay.
And you finish out the season. You start from square one. You come back with knowing that your running game is better.
Mm-hmm.
You knowing that your defense is fucking phenomenal. And
you got two of the best wide receivers in the league.
And your receivers are good, and the defense has some stars. They just haven't performed.
Your tight end can show up.
And now you have legitimate threats in Waddle, Hill. Mostert is a fucking ridiculous
they have the number one
threat.
Receiving. They have easily the number one receiving.
So now you just need someone. Just someone to chuck up the ball.
In my predictions, I know who it is.
You know who I would love?
I know my prediction.
You know who
I have an idea of who I believe it's going to be. I think it's the most obvious.
Mine isn't the most obvious, and I know whose yours is, and I think I know whose yours is.
Are they the same?
Mine, probably.
Oh, really?
But mine is Fitzy.
Oh wow, that is way out there.
I want Fitzy back so hard.
That's a 6 and 11 season waiting for itself.
I love Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I don't think Ryan Fitzpatrick. He loves Thursday night football.
What?
Can you get one of those?
He loves playing Thursday night football. He plays one day a week. That's it. Thursday night.
Yeah. He also is very, very fucking stylish. I don't think he wants to give up that cozy desk job.
It's a beard thing.
He earned that job from the personality and the guy he was during his career.
His time in Buffalo.
Why would he ever want to go back and himself risk further injury?
He's from Harvard.
He's fucking fine. He's a bank robber.
But
listen, for any team, I wouldn't want to play for Miami because they can't fucking figure out what a fucking concussion is.
Did you ever hear it when he was asked? He was still a current NFL quarterback. I think he was playing for the Bucks somewhere. Maybe it was the Dolphins. But they asked him, he's like, "What was your? I know you played a lot of places, but what was your favorite place?" And he just goes, "Buffalo." And they asked him why. He just goes, "Because it's Buffalo."
So
that was it.
Do you know they asked him?
It was before he went there shirtless in the playoff game.
They asked him why he retired because he was contemplating coming back to Buffalo. He said the reason why he doesn't want to be in Buffalo is he doesn't want to be in competition with Josh Allen. Because if Josh Allen isn't playing, then he has to play. Yeah. Or he's like, I don't want to play. He was almost
aware of his curse too, as well. He goes, every time I go somewhere, the guy goes down.
Yeah,
he did it. Like, I don't want to 4 straight places.
Yeah. So yes,
all right. At the count of 3, I will be the counter. Both of you say who you think is going to go to Miami. Quarterback?
Well, first of all, I want to say this before we say that. I hope it's Tua because I think he's a good enough quarterback, but never good enough to beat the Bills.
I don't think it counts.
Honestly,
no. Hold on. I don't think it's Tua. I don't think he's that good. I think the only way Miami is going to move forward.
He's going to have to retire from his fucking concussions.
He's going to.
If he gets one more, he could fucking die.
The NFL Players Association is probably going to prevent him from signing another contract.
So the only way he plays for the rest of this year.
And that's it.
And he's at least out for the next 2 games.
Yeah,
So now you got to make the playoffs with Teddy Bridgewater.
And what if you do?
And what if you do and you put Tua back in there and he gets a fucking
you ruin your
Gets his third concussion.
yeah.
He's the only quarterback that has gotten concussions this year, though.
Yeah.
There's been nobody else that has had.
There's been some receivers.
There's been some receivers.
No.
There's been
And
some,
as a quarterback, though, he's the only quarterback who has had this stigma about concussions with him.
That brings me to the point of he already had CTE.
Oh, easily.
And
Early
he's
on.
He got that. He got that in high school.
exactly from his.
Did you know he
bell from his dad.
from his father?
All right.
All right. So about 1, 2, 3.
Lamar Jackson. Yes.
All right.
Well done, Doug.
There's no way Lamar Jackson signs with Baltimore. After what they put him through this season, I would not sign with Baltimore.
I'm not familiar with what they put him through.
So Lamar Jackson asked for a contract. He's in his contract year.
Yes.
He asked the team for a contract before the season started. And they said,
like a 1 year or like a
long-term contract.
What do they call that?
It's called a long-term contract.
No. They call that for like Josh Allen is the Bills
Franchise quarterback.
franchise quarterback.
Franchise.
Yeah, he should be the franchise
He
quarterback.
There's no question, in my opinion, that they are a better team without him. But keep going because
Without
I have
him?
a counterpoint. No, I'm saying they're a better team with him.
Okay,
They're
with
a
him,
worse
yes.
team without him. But keep going.
I mean, they came from Joe Flacco, who was a decent quarterback. He took him to a Super Bowl. And the issue that they had, that goes back to Joe Flacco, is they made him earn his next contract. The year Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl was a contract year.
Yes.
He went out and had the best season of his life.
Because he knew it was on the line.
He was on the line, and he won. Yeah. He literally won. He
That's
bet
still
on himself and won.
amazing to me. And
I mean,
wasn't he
similar
the
to
Super Bowl MVP that year too?
Absolutely.
That's Joe Flacco.
Similar to how Aaron Judge did this year.
Yeah.
The Yankees didn't sign him to a contract. They said, play it out, see what happens. And he ends up having
breaks the AL home run
62 home runs. He goes from I believe they were going to sign him to a $317 million contract for 12 years.
At least 4.
He got $360 for 13 years. So he gained,
which is ridiculous
a
because he's like
humongous
28
contract.
years old. He's going to be playing until he's Tom
He'll
Brady's
never
age.
play that.
He won't play it out. There'll be a Bobby Vanilla type of thing.
It'll be awesome. I love
Bobby Vanilla
January.
Day.
I love July 1st.
July 1st.
Love July 1st. You ever heard about the Bobby Bonilla contract? No. He signed a contract with the Mets that was backloaded. So he said, I don't want the money up front. You just signed me to the longest term contract.
Okay.
It was a 35-year contract.
Jesus.
So for every year
on July 1st.
On July 1st,
so like
he
2030.
makes $1 million for sitting at home.
The Mets fans celebrated it as Bobby Bonilla.
It's Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah.
So every year they signed it. And what was nuts about the contract was long term, it was like $35 or $40 million.
Yeah. He was
At the
involved in
time,
Madoff, too.
At the time, players were only making like $5 to $10 million for their whole contract.
Career.
So he's got this like $35 million deal. Rick DiPietro,
the Islanders.
Islander goalie, he has a similar contract where it's just so obnoxious.
What is these New York City teams too? For some reason,
Yeah.
I don't know why. What it is? They just maybe the financiers and that guy. I know that the Mets owner at the time was involved with the Bernie Madoff thing, and he lost a lot of money out of that. So he thought he was going to make more of that money back.
If you
actually got double fucked.
Okay, so trying to bring this back to Joe Flacco.
Yes.
Joe Flacco had signed his contract, bet on himself, and won.
Yep.
Baltimore has a history of letting this happen.
The problem is Lamar's hurt, isn't he?
Lamar Jackson got hurt this
Also
season.
very
So
injury.
how is he going to prove himself if he's hurt for half the season?
Great question.
Okay.
He's an MVP candidate, even hurt, because he could come in this next 2 weeks. He's not playing this week.
No, I don't believe so. He's not even going to practice. Like he's not even going to the facility, which is a big problem.
So yeah,
He's out. He's out. If they, especially right now, it looks like they could make the playoffs if they beat the Bengals. If the Bills win against the Bengals and then the Bengals lose the Ravens win the division without Lamar Jackson.
which would be
That's
crazy.
going to be tough to negotiate on his standpoint to say, like, really, was it you?
Yeah.
I got to say this, too, as well, just for about Lamar Jackson's standpoint. MVP, right? He's an MVP.
Yeah, he won the MVP.
He could
He was on
completely
Madden.
change a game. He was on the Madden cover. He's a
There's the
fucking
curse.
superstar.
There's the curse.
I'm just saying.
He is a
bring it back.
superstar in the regular season.
Yeah,
Okay,
he can't do
I
that
have
to the
his
playoffs.
playoff stats pulled up, courtesy of StatMuse.
We don't make any money off of those
would
people.
drool if the Bills got to play the Ravens with or without Lamar Jackson in the first round, because he fucking sucks in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
He is passer rating of 68.3 for 900 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions in 4 games, which he is 1-3 in. Okay. He sucks in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The man is like who's Russell Westbrook? What are you fucking unbelievable?
Russell Wilson. Oh, wrong
Or
guy.
Russell Westbrook, like in the NBA, where they just light it up in the regular season. They get all these great stats, numbers, boom, MVP. Who should be MVP? And they don't do shit in the playoffs.
All right, well, thanks for wishing that on the fucking Dolphins, asshole. Actual NFL news. Who do we have for the top 4 NFL teams
Oh,
coming
them.
up in the final season?
Well, I'll
Final
tell you
weeks
one
of the
thing, and I know I was wrong on this. It ain't the fucking Raiders.
Ooh. So I got a little bit.
Equally wrong.
I got a
Yeah, no
tiny
shit.
opinion about the Raiders.
I want to get into the Raiders just a little bit.
So just briefly,
Recently, Derek Carr got benched.
I believe that this is a money situation.
Okay.
He has a physical scheduled for February 15th.
Are we talking about Derek Carr?
Derek Carr.
Okay.
Yeah. He has a physical scheduled. If he passes his physical, he is guaranteed $40 million, whether he's on the team or not.
Okay.
If they release him on February 12th, February 11th, February anytime from now until February, they don't have to pay him a dime because his contract goes into effect on that date.
On that date.
If they release him, they don't, no harm, no
Pay
foul.
nothing.
He can
no
go and
buyout.
do whatever he wants.
Well, I don't even know if we want to do that.
But what are you doing by benching him?
It is beyond me, and they're technically still in the playoffs. Sorry, I'm trying
Oh,
to
you're
put
good.
this out.
Yeah,
I'll just
they
hit
could
I'll just hit it again.
They could go to the playoffs.
They're still technically not eliminated, but they're taking the franchise guy they've had for the last 8, 9, 10 years, and they're replacing him with Jarrett Stidham.
I think
Who, by the way, was a 5-star recruit before he went
Well,
to college.
I
and
just
was
want
a
to make
bust
sure
as well.
that I'm reading what you're saying correctly. I understand Derek.
he's already been paid for this contract
correct.
for the year.
And if he passes this physical, he's guaranteed $40 million unless he gets released on that February date.
yeah,
But what you're saying is, why not fucking have him play so maybe he loses his physical? Like maybe
that
he
could be.
maybe he breaks his arm and boom,
unless
instant
you have
fail of the
zero
physical.
faith in him,
But
or
do-
if
do-
it's money, it could be money based.
Yeah.
He's a
oh,
franchise.
so he can't be a star, so he can't bring the Raiders back to the playoffs
He could be a
and bring them
star,
back.
but he could be competent enough to bring you to a playoff.
Exactly. He
Yeah,
could go
so
to Atlanta.
if you can bring that team to the playoffs,
He could go to
he's
Atlanta.
gonna bring in
he
some
could
money.
go to the Carolina Panthers.
So
He
okay.
could go to Miami.
He could go to Miami. There's a lot of franchises
I wouldn't
that could
mind
use.
Derek fucking Carr. I love that dude, to be
Okay,
honest. I don't know
okay.
why, but Derek Carr, I like him. I don't know why.
I would
No
have
idea why.
Derek Carr in Miami would be fucking dangerous.
It would be delicious.
Now, we said it before, Lamar Jackson going to Miami is probably more likely because they're
And
gonna
I
pay-
think
they'll
that's
pay him-
dangerous too, because now we got a fucking threat
So
like
fucking
Josh
injury
Allen.
But
Bro,
you
dude.
don't have to pay Derek Carr the same amount that you have to pay Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
You could
Very
pay
true.
Derek
Very
Carr
true as
a
well.
shit ton less.
It would be
and
better
you
with
could-
Derek Carr than Lamar Jackson.
And you could put
Miami.
Derek Carr on a year probationary fucking term and then sign him to a franchise deal. Where Lamar is already talking franchise deal with Baltimore, so he's going wherever he's going.
Wherever he signs,
Wherever
Lamar
he
Jackson,
signs, it's going to be a franchise
it's a
deal.
franchise
Oh, for
contract.
sure.
So now you can sign Derek Carr because he's off in
You guys
Neverland
also
with
pay
Radar.
a lot
He
of
has-
money for your other stars.
Yeah,
so
so
it
It's a
makes more
$40 million
financial sense.
decision.
That's a great. I'm fucking ringing it in. Derek Carr goes to the Miami
What about
Dolphins.
this, though? What about this? One other. I like that. One other Bell moment. Straight up trade.
For who? For what?
Tom Brady.
No, Tom Brady isn't going to play anywhere else.
You don't think?
Nope. I think he's gotten his ass kicked all season long, which is crazy because they're still in the playoffs.
Do you think that? So you think he's going to retire?
If they win the whole thing, he's done.
Well, they're not going to win the whole thing.
If
They'll
they
be lucky
do-
if they win a single game.
Listen, don't bet against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, I think I was singing something earlier about their one-score possession games. Tampa Bay's in every game.
Actually,
They are.
You know what? There is one thing that I
sleepers.
do that I will never do again. So for last season, I did made a couple bets. I'm not really a football guy last season as I am this season because
Yeah,
of you,
you're
John.
getting into it.
But I'm getting into it. But last season, I made a couple bets thinking that Tom Brady was a fucking shoo-in. That motherfucker fucked me on 4 fucking bets that I did.
That's like my Will Levis.
The 4
Lost
fucking
all my Will
bets.
Levis bets
Yeah,
this year.
the 4
That guy's
fucking
gonna
bets I
suck.
did last year, he fucked me on every single one. So I will never bet on that motherfucker ever again.
You bet on certain teams and certain players and situations. You never forget that, and you almost hold a grudge against them begrudgingly.
I also feel like there's a hot hand theory on that too, which I carried into the season and bet Navy way too much. They were horrible.
Navy?
Navy's the best.
You bet Navy?
Over the years, I've won so much money off Navy,
Okay.
but not recently because I don't know. I guess they're sending all their football players to the army. I'm not really sure. But anyways, let's pass it back one more time. Sorry.
You're going to have to redo that.
Tom Brady, to me, is going to play at least 1 or 2 more seasons because the only reason he was going to retire is to spend time with his family, but that's already gone.
All right.
So
So
he's got
I
nothing else
think
to do?
would he go next year that has the receiver that could be dominant, to have a good rushing attack, that has a coach that he's played with before, in a city that's warm, playing in a dome, fucking Vegas. Vegas Brady. He'd be fucking lighting up Caesar's Palace every single night with the rest of all
Vegas
of his
Brady?
Yeah. And think about this, Derek Carr. Realistically, most teams are not going to take the chance on him unless it's, like you said, like a team that could be the Dolphins' perfect situation. All you need is a cheap quarterback and a guy that can do just
You know who
what
could
Tua
use a
does.
quarterback?
What Tua does, right?
The New Orleans Saints can use a quarterback.
They could. People are saying Brady might go there.
You
And,
solidified.
and Sean Payton will come back.
No, Sean Payton isn't coming back. I want to talk about Sean Payton though, because Sean Payton's been floating around all season long, waiting for something
Yes.
to pop up.
All right. Before we get into Sean Payton,
Yeah.
let's go back to the top 4.
Okay.
Who do you think the final 4 teams are going to be in the NFL?
In the NFL,
In the
you
NFL.
got Kansas City,
You got Kansas.
you got Buffalo.
All right.
Yeah, so both conferences like in the finals.
Yep.
If this is your picks for
Yep, these are my
conference final. Okay.
conference.
So you got Bills,
Kansas City,
Kansas City, and the AFC
I
Championship
appreciate
game.
Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's done amazing. I just don't see them having all the right pieces at this time. Buffalo has all of the right pieces.
Yeah.
They're getting healthy at the right time. They've got a very helpful schedule if they get the first round bye.
Yep.
They're destined for big things. Kansas City's just been a juggernaut for the past 13 years. They're fun to watch. They're hard.
One Bills loss away from hosting their
That's it.
5th straight AFC Championship game.
Exactly.
Most likely.
So
Yeah.
I think it's those two. I would love to see the two fucking duel it out again, as we talk about big ratings and what they want.
Watch TV.
Kansas City versus Buffalo is what people want. That's what they want. It sucked last year that Cincinnati squeaked through.
Cincinnati Buffalo this upcoming Monday is probably the biggest regular season game to date.
Yeah, it'll be a
For the
good
most
game.
implications.
It will. And both teams are playoff bound. So there's a possibility this could be a rematch in a couple weeks.
All right.
So I'm saying those are the two in the AFC.
Bills, Chiefs, AFC. What do you got for NFC?
I think it's going to be AFC East or NFC East. I think it's Dallas and Philly. I think Philly's a top team.
I've got the same fucking pick.
I think
motherfucker.
Dallas
Really?
has
Okay.
got it figured out. They've got a two-headed running back team with Pollard and they're fucking from the Ohio State.
The Ohio State University.
I think Dallas and Jerry Jones will do anything to win a championship. He will literally do anything. So to
Well, he
watch
signed T.O.
You know what's crazy?
They're floating that around right now that T.O. is talking to Jerry
As we were
Jones.
talking 2 seconds ago
do
about Sean Payton, I think Sean Payton's the next head coach at Dallas, regardless of what happens this
that's a
season.
good one. That's
I
a
think
good one.
Dallas could win the Super Bowl, and Mike McCarthy might lose his job.
Did he get fired?
He might get fired.
Wow.
I think Sean Payton
That's
is
a bold
that
one.
good of a
Ring the bell.
coach that I think Sean Payton is going to be the Dallas' head coach. And that's still not my big prediction of the year.
That's a pretty good one. I'm not gonna lie.
No
All right.
matter what happens.
What are your picks? You obviously got the Bills, so that's a shoo-in. Got it.
You know, as much as I want to say it, I'm too superstitious about really giving it up. But yeah, they should win the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna say in the case that they
Final
don't,
four, man.
in the case that they don't,
All right.
outside of those two teams, to give the Bengals a little bit of credit because they have Joey Burr. If it ain't the Bills and the Chiefs, it's the Chiefs and the Bengals again.
Okay.
Because either the Bills or the Chiefs will probably end up as the 1 and 2 seed. Whoever ends up as the 1 seed, I don't see losing, and they'll host the other team. But if the Bills lose to the Bengals this weekend or on Monday, they'll probably end up as the 3 seed and then have to go on the road in the second round against either the Bengals or the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So that's tough.
Yeah.
Especially because you're going to go into that game knowing that you lost the first one on Monday night. They'll probably put it as a primetime game because it's Burrow versus Allen or Allen versus Mahomes, and you're on the road. So if the Bills get the 1 seed, they're in the conference championship. They're probably going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree.
If they don't, it changes completely because their home field advantage, especially in the playoffs, is ridiculous the last few years. Josh Allen, 0-3 on the road, 3-0 at home.
Damn, that's an awesome stat.
Yeah.
That's a good stat.
Okay? So that's as big as difference you could ever make it. So if the Bills get the 1 seed, it'll be them and the Chiefs. If they don't, probably Chiefs Bengals. NFC is so interesting because everyone's in love with the 49ers and Brock Purdy, and I am too. Fucking Purdy woman, baby, walking down the street. He looks like he's about 15, by the way.
He is. Yeah.
He is baby boy.
Oh,
Little
younger
baby-
than
little
the
baby face.
quarterback in Georgia. I think
Yes, he is.
His older
He
brother.
is. Lamar Jackson is still younger than that guy. Fifth NFL season, still younger than Stetson. It's interesting because the Eagles, I think, are the best team. Cowboys are playing the best right now. The Vikings are a fucking wash.
Yeah, the Vikings are a joke.
They'll probably get bounced. So I kind of look at the other teams in there.
You don't believe in Cousins?
No, I don't.
No.
I think they got lucky against Buffalo. I think it was bad play calling on Buffalo's part.
They should have won. Josh Allen fumbled the ball.
They had, and again, I go back to the stat of 1 possession games. If Minnesota was a 1 possession team, if they only played 1 possession, they're gonna lose.
Yeah,
They're not that good. So
they're not.
100%. I don't think Minnesota.
I'd rule them out. I wouldn't. So the number 1 seed of all of it would be the Eagles,
Obviously.
and maybe. I mean, I think as long as Jalen Hurts comes back, but he's unproven in the playoffs. Okay?
Jalen Hurts.
He's had 1 game. I understand it was a different team, different time. He's been rolling. Hurt shoulder. Is he going to run as much? Is he going to be able to be effective? Is he going to be a little bit afraid about running as much? They might not play him the rest of the year. He probably could play this weekend if he wants to. Do they really need him to? Probably not. They could beat the fucking Saints. In fact, it could show up later on one of my picks. And they don't need him for these games. But then he's going to go into the season potentially with a number 1 bye, not having played football for a month. And he could get fucking upset at that second
At
weekend.
home.
So I think it's going to be Dallas and the Niners, like the
Dallas
old school
and the
fucking, like the old school '90s days.
Good pick. Good
Aikman
pick.
versus Steve Young. It's going to be a high flying one. So
So
Bills,
if you're,
Chiefs, Dallas.
if you're a quarterback for
Niners.
San Francisco, any of the quarterbacks,
Anyone, I can play
who
quarterback.
plays
San
for
Francisco
quarterback
right now.
next season?
Jimmy G.
Could be TB12, but I don't see why they would do that. He wants to do it, but I don't see why they would do it.
You have a
Why wouldn't it be
problem.
Brock Purdy?
You
Why
spent
couldn't it be Brock?
you spent a boatload of money on Trey Lance. You
lot of
spent
picks.
a ton of picks.
Yeah.
And you also have Jimmy G, who you basically said, "Hey, we don't need you this season." And then our star quarterback got hurt. Oh wait, you're really worth it. I'm telling you, the team that has the most trouble in this offseason are the 49ers.
Yeah.
Because they
A lot of
need to
decisions.
figure out which quarterback you want to play with. Purdy proved himself as a great backup.
Yeah. Competent.
You can be a backup for one of the best teams in the NFL. Where are you going after this?
But or you go like they did with 5 year ago Dolphins, and you have fucking 3 quarterbacks on your fucking roster, and you run Wildcat all the goddamn time.
And you want to bring one of them back.
Didn't fucking work for the Dolphins. Why don't the 49ers
John
try
Madden
it?
had the famous quote: "If you have 2 or more quarterbacks on your team,
You don't have any.
0 quarterbacks on your team."
Yeah.
That's a good.
So
That's a
unless
good
you have the guy, you don't. Anyone's like, "Oh, there can be 2 good, 3 good." No, you don't have 1 good one then. So, to me, Brock Purdy should be able to stay there and fight. Trey Lance does not look good in any games that he's played at the professional level. They might have missed. Now, did they move on from that or not? Did they admit their failures? They put a lot of fucking stock into
Jets are doing that.
Yeah, I mean,
they're admitting that
they're getting rid of it. They're getting rid of him, and it's smart. They didn't
Zach
really give
Wilson.
up as much for him, but like you spent a number 2 overall pick on Zach Wilson. Could have got Trey Lance. Who cares? Could have got Jalen Hurts. I believe it was in the same
Yeah,
draft.
could have gotten Jalen Hurts.
So there's a lot of different. Was that the same draft? I don't think it was.
It was last year. It wasn't that long ago.
Jalen Hurts, I think, came in here before.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 pick
Then it was Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson was number 2.
Trey Lance. Oh, Mac. That was Mac Jones. Came in later on here.
Bro, you're talking about drafts and shit. I'm getting lost, man.
Yes. What? The Niners, in my, to get back to my power 4, I think the Niners are the best team right now. They can have anybody play quarterback in the league. They can play anybody. Anybody can fucking play quarterback for them. They'll still be good because they have just Hall of Famers around them. Bosa, Warner, fucking Debo. He's hurt, but
So the 2021
the team is just stacked.
the 2021 draft, just so we can end this conversation. Number 1 was Trevor Lawrence. Number 2, Zach Wilson. Number 3, Trey Lance.
Yes.
They went
Trevor
1, 2, 3.
Lawrence? Isn't that the Jaguars?
Yeah,
quarterback?
and he's fucking showing
Sunshine?
That was the one that hit last week.
up. Trevor Lawrence is showing up.
That was the one prophecy I gave you.
I
in
listened to the
text.
podcast and I'm like, oh my god, you
Yeah.
fucking picked
Yeah,
the Jaguars
against the
or the
boys.
Dallas Cowboys.
Against the
All right.
boys.
That was a good pick.
Championship. Yes, I just
So we are going to take a quick break, and then we are going to come back and discuss your guys' either love or distaste for Bomani Jones. We will be right back.
You could say if you'd rather take it or not take it.
Well, here we go.
Okay, good.
All right, cheers.
And we're back, bitches.
It's a Pele.
Cheers.
It's a Pele.
Again. I never knew taking a shot from a fucking
A mason jar?
mason jar.
It's a mason jar shot. That's the smallest little mason jar I've ever seen. That thing's adorable.
No, that's T-Rex for you. She's got
Random shit.
just random ass small shit because it's so adorable that she sees.
Gotta
it in the
love that,
store.
Rex. And I can't believe I didn't grab another beer for this.
Don't we have them down? Yes, I have. All right.
It's on the ground. He has to reach on the ground.
I know. I haven't gotten the fucking fridge yet. God damn it.
Well, it's not his
Swing the
problem.
boom. You need another
Yeah.
posy? You need one over there too, Beach?
I do need one.
Okay, well, here you go. See, everyone
I
needed
don't
that
want
one.
Okay.
You know I don't want that.
Well, listen, I have
Is that a
a
Yingling?
Yingling from.
Oh,
You can do the Yingling.
I
It's
would
good.
love the Yingling.
Yeah, go
the
for it. It's a
Yingling.
traditional lager.
I'll take that one too because I'll need it eventually. You just leave it up here. Yep.
I also brought a little Rochester own.
Oh,
The
the tropical. Oh my
Do you want
god.
to get? Listen, I'm giving gifts. It's a holiday season.
Okay.
You can give gifts.
Jeez, this is so fantastic. I didn't know that guy was coming bearing gifts.
That guy
You
brings.
know either.
He brings.
You're
he
looking a
brings
little
fun.
like a department
You
store
know-
Santa.
I'm just gonna. It's got a lot right here. But I'm just gonna
No,
start,
one or two.
I'm gonna start the conversation by saying, look, Bomani Jones
he's
a god.
Oh, no.
boy.
There it
Bomani
goes. My
Jones-
Christmas spirit immediately left the fucking room.
He has opinions that I believe in sometimes. Sometimes he's wrong, but I appreciate
Sometimes.
the guy who has an opinion.
Okay, so as a person who didn't even know who the fuck Bomani Jones was until the
Now you
last
fucking
mortal,
know.
Now you
now I know, and now I did some research.
Ooh.
So everything that this guy says or does seems like he's going through a certain lens that was in his blood, because his mother was a sit-in activist. His father was part of the University 16 who got banned from college for
Yep.
forming a sit-in.
Yep.
Yes.
So any lens that he puts on anything is going to come from the race aspect.
He only covers
Every
race.
fucking thing.
That's all he covers.
He does. He is passionate for what he believes in, and I'm a guy who likes. You could be wrong, but if you're passionate about it, I'm in.
He's himself.
The-
I'll give him that.
the
He's
problem
never
that
not
I
himself.
The problem that I have is he's bringing up issues of the race inequality and all that. But are you really as bad off as you were with your mother and father performing sit-ins? Because he's acting like we are.
Well,
Like we are in the same fucking
gotta say,
predicament
though,
that we
just-
were in the fucking 60s.
So this came from me saying something about Bomani Jones and Deion Sanders
Yeah.
on our last pod.
Yeah.
So to bring it into why we want to bring up our
I was
quick
listening-
off-air
Yes.
feud about
Yeah.
Bomani Jones.
yeah.
I was listening to the podcast,
Yes.
and as I was listening, I texted him, Beach, and I said, Bomani Jones is a saint. And I didn't let Johnny Aces know.
I cried when I
I
heard
was like,
that.
holy shit! Like I like Bomani Jones. Why is he so anti-Bomani Jones?
I just needed someone to punch that day.
So again, if you're
verbally,
listening,
verbally.
you have to listen to the podcast so
Yeah.
you can be caught up with Johnny Ace's opinions.
Yeah.
That guy's opinion.
I like Johnny Aces too.
Johnny Aces.
They're gonna keep growing.
Whatever.
Johnny Anchors, Johnny Aces. I like either.
calls
So I'm gonna say this: Bomani Jones, until I looked him up, I didn't realize how well educated he was. He's extremely well educated.
Yeah, he's got 3
lot
degrees.
Of doctorates, yes, I think one of them
He
was
doesn't have a
at
doctorate.
historically black college.
He won it.
One of them, I think, was at a historically black college.
Yes,
I did not know that.
That's why he was very much harping on Deion Sanders.
So I want to retract a little bit of that to say, like, I can now see absolutely where Bomani Jones is coming from on that aspect about why he had such a problem with Deion Sanders leaving.
It was a cash grab.
Yeah. Okay. Bomani Jones, same situation. You're doing it too. Everyone would. It's the advancement of your career. It was never about staying there forever. He already brought, not to get back in the Deion thing, but he already brought his message and some recollection to what that is, or recognition to what HBCUs are. A lot of people didn't even know they existed. Now they do because of Deion Sanders. So people will actually start potentially going there or going to other schools, seeing like we can get this option. It's going to get more black people into college, going there for sports, something to look forward to. Maybe people didn't even know about that stuff before Deion Sanders.
Ed Reed, who just signed with a smaller college. He was he's going to be their head coach.
Good for him. He should use it to get his way to the next level if he wants to, or he could stay there. It's up to him.
Right.
It's also Bomani Jones's job to find a problem with that. It's his job to find a problem with everything in society that has to do with race. It doesn't even have to do with it. Bomani Jones will have it. I will never forgive him from the day he went on whatever ESPN show he was on that day, Around the Horn or whatever.
Those motherfuckers at ESPN.
Listen, he goes, it's not that I want to root against, or that I really want to root against Josh Allen, but like every time I'm on Twitter and I see a guy saying I love Josh Allen, it's a guy with a dog or American flag in the background. So it's like, do I really want to support a quarterback like that? I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? You're telling me because certain guys like a quarterback who plays for a team in blue-collar America that you're not going to like that player? Or you think that player is a bad person? No. It's because he knew Josh Allen was a Republican. His family's very well known as being conservative from California peanut farms or pistachio farms.
Yeah, get the
that
nut
was
right.
why. So it's like, that's two ends of the side of it. I saw the side that he wanted to play, but Josh Allen's never had a bad bone in his life. He's best friends with Stephon Diggs.
No,
he looked conservative.
How much money did he give to the hospital from his mother? I mean, he raised millions of dollars.
He's a good person.
He did it out of his
goes
heart.
out of his way to do so much for so many people.
So
that's why you don't hear Bomani Jones saying it that much anymore, because now Josh Allen is a certified star. This was probably a year or two ago when he was ascending.
Yeah.
And he was trying to like bring it down because of what people were saying to him on Twitter. Like,
but
that's not sports analyst. That's just holding a grudge politically for absolutely no reason. In a sports figure,
but you're
that's
doing
just
the
doing
same
his
fucking
job.
thing, Johnny.
I am, of course.
You're doing the same thing.
I'm not a $250 million quarterback.
But you're holding a grudge because he said something about your famed quarterback, and that's why you don't like the fucking guy.
I didn't know he was so educated, and
So
I
we
respect
learned
his
something.
opinion on HBCUs.
But why does that
That's
fucking
why
matter?
I didn't like him
But why
for a long
does it
time
matter
ago.
that he's educated? It shouldn't matter that he's fucking educated. We are all uneducated fucks on this
Very
fucking
true.
podcast.
He's not a widow.
It shouldn't matter.
He's not a widow because he's educated.
I get it, but
He's well educated. He's not. Maybe he's not so well informed. He probably is well informed too. But he's educated, so it rules him out.
His job is to have an opinion. He was
Yes.
hired by ESPN, not for his takes, but that he has takes that are controversial enough.
They are.
That gets viewers to watch what he's going to say.
Yeah.
That's all they're interested in viewership.
Hot takes.
100%.
All they want is hot takes.
Yeah.
So, Johnny,
Speaking of
Akers,
hot takes,
you got some hot take
I
individuals.
do.
So let's look at
I was
this
gonna
list.
say I'm pulling them up here. So I recently did a quick power rankings of all the people who do hot takes, and I just want to put it out there. There's some good people that were left off this list. Honorable mention: Rich Eisen, Jim Rome, and that's probably it. Honestly, that's probably it for the ones that didn't make the full top 10 list. Check it out at Johnny_Anchors on Twitter. So, do you want me to go to 1,
No,
or do you want me to start at 5?
It doesn't matter. They all have opinions.
start at 5.
Okay, I'm gonna start at 5 because I haven't.
Who was in your top? Who was 5 through 10? Give us 6 through 10.
You want 6 through 10?
Yeah,
real quick.
I know number
recap.
10. I know number 10 was Emmanuel Acho,
Okay.
and just because he's just opinionated enough and wrong enough to be entertaining, and he used to play.
6 through 10 means no discussion. Just go through 6 through 10.
You either know these
Because
people
you're
or
going
not.
to fucking make us run way over, man.
Laura Rutledge.
Okay. I think I follow her on TikTok.
She's on NFL
I might need
Live.
you to leave.
I'm a TikToker.
Yeah, I might need you to leave.
Actually, I was wrong. Jason McIntyre was number 9, but he doesn't need to be mentioned. He's a Jets fan. Number 7, Kevin Wilds. Number 6, Dan Orlovsky. Great job on the underside.
All right, number 5.
Number 5, ding, Johnny Anchor's current year-ending 2022 power rankings.
4.
Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp. What is he on? Fox News? Fox Sports?
Yes, Fox Sports. Undisputed with Skip Bayless, who is the biggest fucking old hack in the business.
Okay, that's a good. I mean, Shannon Sharp, again, a guy who played in the NFL, he
Carried.
has experience. He's been around for a while. Opinionated. I'm okay. Number 5. Good.
All right, number 4.
Just gotta say on the Shannon Sharp thing, on my own point of why I picked Shannon Sharp. Former player, loves cognac, has his own cognac brand. He's great on Twitter.
Okay.
And I once had him reply to one of my tweets back when I had my original account that was eventually banned before Elon took over. I said something about him getting carried by John Elway. Like, I called him Piggyback Shannon, #Piggyback Shannon.
And he
carried you.
tweeted it?
He responded, and he was like, "Lots of people carried me to the NFL. I'm grateful, always grateful," or something like that. And I was like, "Yes." So, backstory on that:
Okay.
always had a sweet spot for Shan. He was like one of the first celebrities that ever got back to me in the early.
So Shannon
So Shannon Sharp at 5. Number 4, Joy Taylor with the news.
Yeah.
Joy Taylor with the news. She's voluptuous.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Look up Joy Taylor.
Yes,
While I
she
give you
good
about why she with Joy Taylor. She's Jason Taylor. Is that his name, right? Jason Taylor, former Dolphins
Yeah.
player. His sister.
Blew his chest open?
Oh, he's huge. Yeah, he's a massive man.
No, I think.
Oh,
he
he
think
popped the pack. He popped the
No,
the
I
titty.
think he.
Yeah, he ruptured his pectoral muscle.
Yeah, he popped the titty.
This isn't the guy that blew his chest open with a shotgun because they wanted him to
That's
examine.
Sean Taylor.
No, somebody.
Oh, that was Sean Merriman.
Somebody
Not Sean
from the,
Merriman either.
No.
somebody from the
God.
Dolphins blew their chest open because they wanted to
Junior
examine
Seau.
their ad. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, Junior Seau.
Thank you.
Junior Seau.
Jesus.
Sean Taylor passed
Yeah,
away.
he
in
had
a
these
botched
Joy who?
robbery. That
Yeah,
was
Sean
that was a
Taylor.
moment of just
R.I.P.
to let you know that we've been recording for a while. We have multiple substances flowing.
Okay, so
She's all right looking.
all right.
She's great, isn't it? Joy Taylor. So
Yeah.
she was the former co-host of The Herd with Colin Coward.
I think she
She's
hosted
smart.
today, ironically.
She does when he's out of town.
Yeah, he was out of town today.
But she actually knows and she has that connection with players. Not a lot of the female reporters or even like
wonder
analysts,
why.
even how smart they are. She actually was engaged to a basketball player. I cannot name the name, but yeah, she balls.
Okay.
She's a fucking famous celebrity, but she's smart about it. So it's like I give her that. She's
All right.
probably the women champion.
Number
not to give it
3.
away. Ryan Clark. Ryan
Oh, yeah,
Clark
from,
of ESPN.
yeah, he's a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Old Pittsburgh Steeler. Again, I like the former player aspect of it because they're not as hot because they know. Everyone else is in the industry who's not an official, just a hot takes guy, like a fucking Nick Wright douchebag, dick nose.
Or Booger McFarland.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
whatever.
Booger played. He was a legend. Booger McFarland? Hell yeah.
Booger McFarland, his hot takes are a little,
Whoa.
his cold.
They're CTE.
He's pretty cold.
They're CTE. And
Oh,
I think Ryan Clark didn't have as many concussions, and he's very well spoken about how easy it is to understand like what he's trying to put through, and he has great points that other people on his network don't have,
Right.
for the most part.
Yeah.
But number
And you know
2.
what? I really think that comes from he played for Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh gave him the opportunity to learn how to be a commentator
yeah, and be
outside
himself.
of the game. And I think
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, he's really good.
I wouldn't be surprised if he got into coaching or potentially became a GM someday because he
Yeah.
knows the game so fucking well. Same as Louis Riddick.
Yeah, Lewis
who
Riddick
didn't
he
make
has
the list.
Yep, he has
But-
a very good understanding of the game and how he's more
how
of
it
the
works.
offense. Yeah, he's more
How
of the
it
offense.
works. Like a lot of the players know the game, know their role, could be good role players,
Yeah.
offensive coordinators. But Ryan Clark is so
And he's
smart.
He can speak.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing when some of these commentators, if they can't speak well,
They can't vibe with what's happening.
then
If it's
they're
not written.
good.
Yes.
I like listening to him on Monday morning or after a football game. He's pretty quick on.
Yes.
And he'll dissect a play. He'll be able to explain what's happening. Yeah, good pick on Ryan Clark.
All
right, number
Ryan
2.
Clark, number
Top
2.
2.
Into the final 2. These guys square off. Stephen A. Smith.
Oh God.
Yeah, you can go to number 1.
He is the best at what he does.
Not good. Pass.
He's 1B.
He's
1B.
Actually, the only...
It's hot. This is hot takes. This is
the only thing that I have to go off of, because I don't watch any of the fucking shows you guys watch. You watch fucking ESPN all day, every day.
I gotta switch back.
So the only thing that I know about Stephen A. Smith is what he called about the Donald Cerrone fight. At first, I was pissed off because he said Donald Cerrone just didn't come to the fight. And you don't say that to a fucking fighter who's going out there risking his life. But then you talk to Donald Cerrone after the fight, and he's like, yeah, I just wasn't feeling it. So then Stephen A. Smith was completely correct about being like, he just didn't have it in the fight.
How many games has Stephen A. Smith ever played?
0.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many games has he coached?
0.
Okay. How many games has he managed or owned and played? So,
Not a goddamn one
That's
of them.
the problem you have with Stephen A. Smith, is he does not know the games. He doesn't understand the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it.
Yes.
All he knows is how to put on a tie and sit in front of that fucking camera and make an opinion. I love the fact that he makes an opinion. He just sucks at his opinions.
Yeah?
He's a homer. He's a homer for Dallas.
He hates Dallas.
Okay.
He hates Dallas, yes. Skip Bayless is the
Bayless,
fucking homer for Dallas, yeah.
Right. I don't need to listen. I hate the fact that he is on for 4 fucking hours in the middle of ESPN.
That's also because they pay him a lot of money.
They paid him too much. His opinions suck.
I put him on this power rankings right now because he's still the most powerful of all those voices, in my opinion, of the power rankings. Not that I agree with all of his takes, but damn does he do his job well. Almost as good as old number 1, Colin motherfucking Cowherd. He's the GOAT. Yeah. He runs all of radio right now. No one listens to sports talk radio anymore except for the Herd. I watch it probably religiously during the week when he has his Herd hierarchy and all the other shit that he's got.
You see it on TikTok. You see it on Facebook.
He's got these opinions that he relates to anything in life. He's big about saying you got a job, right? You're new in your job and you do really, really well. Or maybe you've had a job that you've had for a really long time and you've been good at your job. Then a new boss comes in and you all of a sudden you're not ranked as high as when you were the previous year, whatever he says. Yeah. Paraphrasing. But he relates that to Russell Wilson and how he's like, he was great before he got this new job. And then it's insane how he just relates everything to what people could understand. No one does that anymore. Everyone has the hot takes of just, I'm going to say something
except for
ridiculous
Leaving
to
Earth
go
podcast.
viral. Except for leavingearthpodcast.com, which we eventually get.
Yeah.
But he just does it so well that he also has some of the biggest names come on his show. He has current players come on his show. He started his own podcast. Maybe someday our fucking podcast will be on the volume. Who knows? Hit us up, Colin, anytime you'd like, because everyone's got a fucking podcast on that fucking shit now. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT for what he does now.
Yeah, he has a pretty good desk job in Fox.
Yeah, best job in the world.
He decided what he wanted at Fox when he signed that contract.
Yeah.
And he's got a big following. A lot of people listen to him. A couple of people that you didn't name, Mike Francesa.
Oh, the classic dude from New York.
WFAN.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
You didn't pick up on Mike Francesa.
He's a GOAT. He's old. He would have hit the power rankings back in the 90s, but he's not local or current.
Mad Dog. Currently,
I like Mad Dog Radio every now and then.
I have satellite, so I listen to Mad Dog a lot.
Pat McAfee I could have put on there, but he's not he's aspiring. He's close to the rankings.
Yeah,
Pat McAfee might hit the rankings next year.
I think
he's up there though.
Yeah, he's got a good
with Aaron Rodgers following, he's hit it big time.
He's got him coming on.
Weekly.
He has him on
interviews
weekly.
Aaron Rodgers weekly. I mean, that's alone massive amount of
You've also forgot all the Barstool guys. And maybe that's because the Barstool guys are...
They're not there yet.
They're no-namers right now. Yeah. PFT...
I had it as conferences for these first 10. Okay. ESPN versus Fox Sports. I could have browsed... I could have gone with the Jim Rome, but I'm telling you, no one really listens to those guys. No, everyone, if they want to hear it, goes right now to them,
Jim Rome, you have to know so much of the small nuances of what he says.
His old running shows... The bits that he used to do were incredible. And Jim Rome used to be incredible on ESPN.
When they call in, they're like, "Oh, remember that, blah, blah," and then you're like, "I don't fucking know what the fuck you're talking about."
This guy, loser.
Yeah,
always been long-time caller. Lost his wife of 10 years 4 months ago. Already married again. Like he just has that like deadpan like delivery every single time.
And his guys, they're fucking running the boards. Just throw them fucking throw those bits in.
He also does it mostly by himself. He interviews people like once a show.
Yeah.
A lot of it is if you have a good co-host, like Pat McAfee has his boys in the studio. I could have thrown Pat McAfee on there. Maybe I'll bump off Emmanuel Acho. He doesn't really deserve to be there. So I'll give Pat McAfee number 10.
You know, Pat McAfee's coming back to the WWE in a couple weeks.
I love
so
that.
he's going to be big in the WWE.
guy. Big MMA.
What do we think is going to happen in 2023?
Oh, I'm so excited.
We are going to start with Johnny Anchor's prediction. Then we will go to that guy's, and then we will finalize with Beaches. Mine is not anything to write home about. I'm just letting
yours.
You should go first.
Yeah, but Beach, you start with your
Want me to
opinion.
start, and then we'll go Johnny Anchor's?
Yeah.
Yours is the best.
This is the best. Yeah.
All right, so mine is that Sugar Sean O'Malley will have a belt by the end of 2023.
I hope he does. He's got a full season, a full year to fight.
The only problem that I foresee for Sugar Sean O'Malley getting a belt,
Is his own injuries?
no, is if Cejudo comes back.
Oh, yeah.
That is the only complication.
Triple
But
Bowl?
he's already beat the most dangerous man in the division of Peter Yan.
Yep.
Granted, it was a iffy win.
Yeah.
We'll give it that. But that's the baddest man. Aljamain Sterling can go fuck himself. That dude is ass.
He's been butt since he fucking headbutted the other guy.
Yeah, he's ass. He's fucking ridiculous.
Well, Peter Yan headbutted him.
Yeah,
He?
Peter Yan headbutted him.
Yeah.
And it was a whole
Oh,
thing.
no. It was the
The illegal knee.
illegal knee. That's
Yeah.
right. You
Peter
can't
Yan
knee
illegal
with your
kneed
fucking
him.
leg on
Yeah.
the ground. Something
It's
stupid.
whatever. But Aljamain Sterling's ass. Sugar Sean O'Malley should have the belt shot, and he should kick his ass.
Yeah, I agree.
The only thing I have a problem with is if Aljamain holds out and Cejudo comes back. Cejudo's going to win the belt. I don't think Sugar Sean can beat Cejudo.
No, he's an Olympic
But
beltless.
that's my 2023 prediction of my man Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Sugar Sean?
Would love to fucking have him reply to anything that I say because that dude is awesome.
Yeah,
Sugar, how you get so Sean?
He's an awesome dude. I would. I'm behind that.
You're behind that prediction? How about you, Jay?
Yeah, Shay, what's your 2023 prediction?
All right, so I've been making a prediction every year for the last 5 or 6 years in the form of a bet.
Ooh.
And it is for one of my favorite golfers of all time. And because that we started the show, I believe in October
October of this
whatever it was.
year. No,
we
September
haven't-
of this year. Can't even remember when the fuck we started this. September.
We'll call it late
It was September 1st of 2022 because that is T-Rex's birthday, and I took her birthday to start this fucking podcast.
The world shook on that
Late
day.
December back in 22. So we haven't really got much into golf. We haven't got much into golf yet, but I will be throwing out some golf bets because I absolutely love betting on golf. Usually it's got to be a certain situation on the weekend that I take a golfer. But this certain prop bet, this prediction that I made for many years, and I think it's finally going to come true this year. Ricky Fowler is going to win a motherfucking major.
Well,
First time, he has been nothing but disappointing for the last 2 years.
so are you going to take the Masters? Or are you going to take, U.S. Open? Which one? Which one are you going to nail down?
To win any major, he's plus 2,800.
So if he's going to make money.
That's a good bet. 100 to win 2,800. All right? I mean, if you're gambling in, you like to do some prop bets at the beginning of the year and waste some money, that's what you do. It's what I've done the last 3 years. 5 years, 6 years, however long it's been, I've been betting on it.
Okay.
So, and the odds keep going up because it sucks now. I think he's 100 ranked in the world. At one point, he made it all the way up to 4.
Yep.
Been winning tournaments, hasn't won the tournament in 2 years.
He's still in the PGA, or did he go to the Live?
He's still in the PGA.
So they didn't take him to the Live, or they didn't offer him at the Live?
He is, I think, a PGA purist in a way.
Okay.
So I also think Liv would have paid Ricky Fowler because he's big money.
Oh, yeah.
He makes a lot more money in endorsements than he ever
Is this
could
the
have done.
fucking mullet guy?
He got the mustache. He's Puma.
No,
He's
Puma. Okay, all right, all right.
He's got the long hair, look awful
Yeah.
and hat. He was the
It was
first
a big,
golfer.
long,
He was the first golfer to make it cool. He was the first,
Yeah.
our generation-ish golfer. That was like,
Rory McIlroy was.
he's
hard.
better.
Yeah.
He's better. No, definitely. He was a more skilled. He boys with Ricky Fowler. All those guys, Speed.
all buddies.
They're all buddies. They just ushered in kind of a new era, and that's what I think even they went for it. I think even Speed and Rory are like, come on, man, you gotta get one. Like he's a great golfer for many, many years.
Could he become like the
PGA
lefty?
championship would happen.
Oh, Dude, that's going to be in Rochester. That's going to be a
But
huge.
he's gotta make a cut first because he's not ranked enough. I think it's like top 50 he gets in. Or you have to win a
I'm
tournament
pretty
before.
sure he might be good, or he's got most of the season to go because PJ's in what, July, August?
It starts roughly around January. Actually, it starts middle of January.
The season.
Yeah, the season starts. And then
So he
the
can
first
win-
major is in like April. I think it's the Masters. Or they might have moved the Players' Championship to March.
Okay. So again, he's got a very good chance to win. If it happens in fucking Rochester territory,
Oh, yeah.
that'd be awesome. I'm pro. I think I'm gonna go with more of the Rory McIlroy. My son's name is Rory, so I'm hoping for Rory McIlroy. But
He has the best odds to win a major this year. He's plus like 230 or so. Like that. Everyone's odds on non-favorite because no one knows who's going to win a major.
Yeah.
Like four
nobody.
golfers are going to win.
That's it. Four
Or it
guys.
could be the same golfer. Even
Could it be
so,
Tiger?
No.
No, you don't
No
think?
way. No
Do you think he's
way.
investing in
The
Charlie?
only one he'd win is the Masters because it's the only one he knows. It's the only one he could take advantage of from just knowing that course the best.
That would be
Everything
nuts.
else would be is a free for all. Jason
Okay.
Duffner won the fucking PGA Championship
In
last
Rochester.
time it was in Rochester. So
All right. Well, good production.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for it. So,
yeah. Go Ricky.
fucking that guy's prediction. I
Ring
am
the bell.
so
Ring the,
excited.
ring the fucking bell.
We are ready for this. That prediction is somebody's gonna fucking die on the playing field. I'm talking somebody is actually gonna suffer an injury that he's gonna die on national television. Whether it's a puck to the face or fucking Tua's gonna fucking
I was
get
gonna
hit
say,
in
is it
the
gonna be
nuts.
Tua? No.
I am predicting that
Oh,
at
you're
this
predicting
point
Tua's
this year,
death.
some pro athlete in a major sport is going to die on the ice field.
And no matter how it happens, I'm just gonna say this: no matter how it happens, someone's gonna say it's vaccine related.
Right? If it's Kyrie Irving, if he dies, it's because of the
No, it's
vaccine.
gonna be someone who's vaccinated.
I'm,
Oh, he just took a fucking hit to the head for his 5th time of the year. He was vaccinated though.
I'm just going to say somebody in a major sport is going to die, and it's going to cause
Yeah.
ESPN to rethink how much they broadcast sports.
Do you know people have died in soccer matches around
Yeah,
the world
absolutely.
recently?
We've had
We
boxers.
just don't know that because we don't follow soccer.
We've had boxers die, minutes after a fight in the ring.
Yep.
In the ring though?
I'm saying, like, we're gonna be watching it, and that fucking person's gonna be like,
They're
died,
just gonna drop.
just dead, and there's nothing gonna happen.
Okay.
We're just gonna
So
watch it.
I want to say I want to build on your prediction and get some odds.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Okay.
What is it with you and odds, bro?
This
Always
is a
wanna know
gambling
what the
show.
Over and under is.
This is
Like,
a goddamn.
I'm sorry, he wants to
To
make
me,
money.
this is a goddamn gambling show. So, odds of this thing happening, someone dying on field. I'd say the highest odds of it would be head injury. One
Yeah.
way or the other. It would just
Some
be
sort
some
of,
type
like,
of
your
brain
brain-
injury.
that would be the
Your brain
highest
died.
odds.
Right.
I would say that.
That'd be like plus 150.
It could be a UFC fight. Someone
Yeah, I was gonna say
fucking dies in
UFC.
the UFC.
Someone could. I asked. I think when we
You-
had
you
Silent
did.
Partner on, I
Anybody
go,
ever died?
you can't kill someone, right? Like no one's ever died in that because like there's got to be like rules that you can't put someone in a certain
No,
lock or
it's-
break someone's neck.
You're-
Or,
Your officiating has to-
the reason that nobody dies is because of the officiating. The problem
Okay.
is
Okay.
somebody could punch out the lights for the last time. So that is a very good.
right.
That's a very good
You
prop.
get
That's a good bet.
something-
You
head
get
related.
someone like
Yeah.
Tua, who can't clearly. He's playing radio at this point.
Yeah, no shit.
yeah.
Like he might die if
Playing
someone
radio
hits
at this
him.
point.
If someone hits him hard enough, he might not make
Shout
it.
out Cuba.
Cuba could have unit.
So bad.
Just,
I can't ring the bell for it.
That was a great line, though. He's
Just
playing
I
radio
couldn't
at
let
this
that
point.
just slide by, even though how horrible it is. Sorry.
just saying.
All right.
You
That
someone-
guy.
Great
that
fucking
guy-
Saving the
actor.
singers for the end. Hope you listened all the way to this point because that might have been the best part of this whole thing.
If nothing else, that will be a fucking one we
Yeah,
post
we'll
on
clip-
Twitter.
We'll clip that
just
one.
saying.
We'll clip that one.
If Tua dies in the field, I wouldn't be surprised. Somebody in history has got to fucking be the first one to die. Like
On
somebody's
professional
gotta be,
American sports.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm not
I was thinking
talking-
about this. So you said that you got it earlier. So
the closest I think had come in American sports was that hockey game where the goalie for the Sabres
got his
had
neck
his throat sliced open
Yeah,
from a
right in the
skate.
middle of the skate,
And it
yeah.
prompted them to now wear guards, like neck guards underneath.
Mhm.
Most of them don't wear it. So, I mean, people get their skates up on people's throats a lot. It's amazing that more people don't die doing that.
Right.
But it's such a freak accident, and it almost happened. I mean, the dude got saved. Look it up. Clint Malarchuk, Sabres goalie.
Yeah.
You ever seen the video?
Of course not.
Yeah,
You've never seen
Why
that
would I
video?
watch that video?
It's like instantly starts gushing
I got
blood.
a friend, B-Dubs. So B-Dubs was on the fucking podcast.
Yes.
That motherfucker sent me videos of a dude shooting himself in the fucking head.
Well, those
Like,
are the
why
old
do I
snuff
want to
videos.
watch these fucking videos?
I wouldn't send you a snuff video.
I just
You
don't
got
understand.
Plexico Burris that
So-
shot his leg off.
I'm gonna give you live reaction video.
You found it? Nice.
Yeah. That's the uncut version that didn't make the
Oh, it
broadcast.
got cut.
That was the
There
one that
was a
didn't make
cut.
the broadcast.
There was a cut.
Here it comes. It's so bad.
Oh, dude!
No.
Oh, dude! Dude!
Hey, he got himself good there.
Yeah, Clint Malarchuk. The Clint Malarchuk video scarred me for life. I play hockey still for a beer league, and I think every time like I just don't want to end up like Malarchuk tonight. Like,
Don't do that.
because that is just and he said himself, he goes, it keeps going because it goes to commercial. You can hear the commercial, but it keeps going. All the players, they said there's players thrown up on the ice. There's people fainting in the crowd.
Yeah.
He said, I just wanted to get off the ice so my mom didn't watch me die on national television. So that was maybe
was-
the closest anyone's
that
ever
80s?
come. In the 80s, yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, the Clint Malarchuk.
That was a pool of blood
Pool of
immediately.
Yeah.
pool.
It's
I
a-
kind of blame the coach for not getting there quicker.
Well, they said the trainer went through there and he passed out and he held his carotid artery with his fingers and pinched it and stopped it for long enough for them to stitch up his neck. And then later that night he said, "Did we win or lose?"
No shit.
He lost so much blood. But he said, asked him after, he goes, and his mom even said it. She goes, it was awful. It was literally like watching your child die
Yeah.
on national television. But they
Well-
saved him. The Buffalo Sabres training staff fucking saved his life that night and then ever since then they changed the rules. The goalies have to wear the neck thing.
protection.
Yeah. So I would say your prediction,
It's
head or neck related is high.
Yeah.
Head or neck related has to be high.
Yeah.
Do you think it would ever get to the ultimate ring-a-ding-ding-ding bell? That is vaccine related?
No,
And someone drops that of a cardiac problem while they're playing some sport?
Myocarditis?
Oh, the myocarditis?
The myocarditis just gets involved?
You got to be looking at like some of the larger. Again, football. I'm assuming football when you're thinking
Okay.
of sport. Football has changed the way
Is
that
that
they
what
do.
you thought of when you made this prediction?
Of football? Yeah,
Of
I thought
football?
of fucking Tua. That was my guy.
Yeah.
I if you're thinking
That's your
of
fall
the,
guy? Damn.
He's just picking it out one time. You might as well have said, Tua's going to die on a football field.
that would have been fucking
Jeez.
spot on. Bet that. If you're thinking of a larger football guy, an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, some of these guys are 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Their cardio has changed. Their practicing has changed.
Yeah.
Their diet has changed. They're not these big fat guys who are standing.
Oh,
and
no, they're
blocking.
brick walls now.
They
They're
are
lean, mean.
They're lean.
machines.
They're much
Yeah.
tighter. The college teams have spent more in nutritional information and trainers and whatnot. So I don't think you're going to get some like Ted Washington guy who's going to fucking die. I'm thinking you're going to get somebody who has an injury on the field, like he gets
That's going
hit
to cause it.
that causes him to have a heart attack, or somebody who's going to a baseball player gets hit in the head with a bat. Like that, it's happened before.
Mhm.
You've seen
Yes.
MLB has changed their stadiums to now put fencing up farther down, so
Mhm.
it's all the way down.
Yes.
That's to prevent a foul ball from hitting a fan, but foul balls also hit players, and someone's gonna
Balls
get hit.
can get hit in the head. You can get hit in the head with a pitch or a hit
Yeah.
as a pitcher.
Yeah.
Very fucking easily.
They've changed some of the hats now, have more padding in them for some players that would prefer a larger padding hat. Now, granted, it looks like a fucking Dumbo hat.
It's ridiculous.
But it's also...
who was the player for the Bills back in the day? God, you remember? Fuck, I'll look it up.
Yeah, but yes, I know what you mean. The double helmets.
He had the double helmet because he had concussion problems. They should start bringing that back.
Oh, with the padding on the actual helmet.
It was it was literally like
a
helmet
diaper
on a
helmet? Yeah.
Helmet on a
No.
helmet. No,
This
not
was
the
a
new
hard,
one though.
Hard scalp on
was-
top
this is
of a
90.
double
Oh no
helmet.
shit.
It was Kelso. It was
Yeah,
Kelso
it
because
was
he
Kelso.
used to be the
Mark
analyst.
Kelso.
Yeah, Mark Kelso. But that to me, the head and neck is the clear obvious reason. Any sport, any collision sport, you could die.
Yep.
Technically, a basketball player could die on the court if they hit or head hard enough and hemorrhaged or whatever.
It was called
It's
a pro cap.
Yeah.
It was
Pro
called the
cap,
pro cap.
yes.
Yep.
So you think about the collision sports like hockey and football; those are the most obvious ones.
Yeah.
Baseball could definitely happen. Like you said, the pitch right back, foul ball.
And those
someone
pitchers
else.
are throwing the ball at a alarming quicker rate.
Yes,
Yeah.
on
Rate of
average.
spin
on average.
is much quicker. So as it's coming off the hand, it's hitting that bat just as quick. And I have this gut feeling that for years we haven't had a time when sports had to reconsider how much they spend time on promoting sports. And I think we're at that point where like, oh shit, something could happen.
Is the human life worth the
I don't
amount
know.
that we pay to watch sports, or is
During
it just
COVID-
is it something like this? Is it a conversation like this where everyone's just literally waiting for it to happen because they know the leagues aren't going to do it?
I don't know.
They're not going to stop it until something like that happens.
You have Tua, who had a concussion this week, and it didn't get stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And of all players in the league, that guy, from that guy to that guy, have noticed that you have to watch that guy because he's not going to do it for himself. He's not going to pull himself out.
We talked about that, yeah. We said he's going to play, and I respect
Yeah.
him for that, like greatly.
Play.
As a Bills fan, I respect him and Mike White for what they put their bodies through to try
Right.
to beat the Bills.
Right.
But they,
in the same respect,
the life,
the league needs
life
to
is
watch
long.
him. The league needs to watch him because he's not going to pull himself out.
Yeah.
His head coach needs to say, like, dude, you might have a concussion. Let's check you out. And they didn't do any of that fucking shit.
No.
So that's why my prediction says someone's gonna fucking die this year, and we're gonna watch it live. We're not gonna we'll be able to watch YouTube videos
Yeah.
of it happening because
It
everything's
does
recorded.
happen around the world. People do drop.
Right.
They've been dropping in soccer. Look that up. Look it up.
I'm saying
People are
someone's
dropping
gonna
dead all over
drop.
fucking soccer pitches all over the world. It's kind of strange.
So-
That's why I think that if
Sorry if I
Is
made
any
a morbid.
no, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
I support
Prediction.
that. I just also want to put out there that sports back in the day, before national broadcasts and television, the early days of football and hockey, people died a lot.
Yeah.
Not going to say a lot, but they had to change rules of football from the beginning of the day, if you don't know about this, to prevent the wedge, which would just be wedges of humans running at each other
Like the
without any
flying
padding.
V.
Yeah, the flying V.
Yeah.
And people would just be
Yeah.
going neck first into each other and just
Yeah.
paralyzing themselves or just
Well, what happened
killing
this week?
themselves
There was
because
an-
that's the formations that they were using in football.
There was a player that got ejected this week for targeting or leading with his head. The guy from fucking the Chargers.
It was the Chargers. Derwin James.
Derwin
yeah,
James.
Derwin.
Derwin James
Best
knocked himself fucking
one
out.
of the best safeties in the game.
He
Maybe
literally
the
knocked
best
himself
safety.
out.
Yeah.
When he got up, he didn't know where he was. His coach had to tell him, like, no, dude, we took your helmet. You got to leave. You got to go to the fucking...
And now that player is going to have a concussion, at least on record with the NFL.
Yeah.
And people are going to start keeping track of this, especially if they put Tua back out there. I don't want him to die.
A lot of people are
I don't
gonna
even
watch
want him
him.
to retire, but it's dangerous. It's up
Way
to him.
dangerous.
But he should know his coach and the players around him, the people who care about him, right? Who care about him as the person, who
Yes.
say on record, we care about Tua as the person.
Yes.
Are you really caring about Tua as the person, or are you saying, hey, he really wants to play and you really need him to win? Which is both true.
Which one is it?
But also, I think he needs to be informed. I don't know if he like, obviously everybody knows the risk of concussions. Everybody knows that you can get CTE. But does anybody really know, like, what the CTE does to people? Like,
ruins-
obviously, we know that it's bad.
It makes your brain turn to marbles.
It's a mush, right?
It's
But
even
does
more
Tua-
than that,
but-
though. It changes you as a person.
Correct.
It changes
Does
your
Tua know
moods.
that?
It turns you into like a, you see all the old players of the NFL who went crazy from playing in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. It wasn't necessarily that their brains went to rot. I mean, they still knew some things. They could talk. They had memory issues. They had controlling their anger issues.
Yeah, that's what Judy Sale had. Chris Benoit, the wrestler.
They went crazy. They went literally
he had
crazy.
CTE and steroids. So that was a deadly
combination. And so did the fucking NFL players in the 80s.
Yeah.
They were doing cocaine. They were doing steroids. They were doing all of it while playing the most physical era of football was the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, who was the guy from Denver who Romanowski? He was notorious for being just this crazy fucking dude.
Yeah.
He'd hit fucking people with his helmet on.
He was in the longest yard. I love on the sports show when someone was in the longest yard. I have to bring it up.
Who's
Michael
that?
Irvin,
Who's that guy that was on the Dolphins that was fucking stomping people in the neck? The defensive player.
Oh, Sue.
Yeah.
Dominic Sue.
Yeah. That dude's a motherfucker.
Yeah, he's got.
And I will say this too as well. I know you could Patreon this one if you want. It's up to you, but I will say firsthand that I've had at least 6 to 7 concussions in my life. 3 of which I've lost consciousness.
Now we know where his theories come from.
Yeah, exactly. So here you go. I'm a crackpot with CTE.
He's like, oh shit, there's still.
I'm a crackpot with
Johnny Akers
CTE.
has CTE, and that's where all the shit comes from.
I'll tell you what it's like with CTE. Here we go. So one of the times, and it wasn't one of the bad ones where I lost consciousness, but I definitely got my bell rung. Playing beer league hockey. Skating down the ice, guy goes to do something, either take a shot or his stick comes up real fast. And I think at the time I was wearing a helmet, no cage, visor, hits me in the side of the head, and it immediately rings my bell. Yeah. Right? And you go into it because I've had it happen. I don't know if you guys ever had them. You probably had them. You played football, Beej. And you rang. It's the reason why they call it getting your bell rung.
Yeah,
because everything is ringing, and you're in the Saving Private Ryan scene where you can't fucking hear anything, and you're just like, bing, and you're disoriented.
What?
You're disoriented.
What?
If you're not completely concussed and completely knocked out, you're disoriented. Yeah. So what did I do right after that? I turned around. I looked at the guy who did it to me. I skated all the way down the ice, and I blasted him in the back of the neck with a cross check and got kicked out of the game.
Well, yeah, that's your fault.
Because I was severely concussed. You become a different person. You see videos of hockey players doing the same thing where they get their bell rung, they get up and they do something fucking idiotic and stupid. Yeah. They're not the same.
Bertuzzi.
Todd Bertuzzi. There's so many. Chris Simon actually was one of them from back in the day who was a really, really bad event where he swung his stick at someone's head.
Sean Avery used to do the same shit. He'd fucking stand in front of the goalie. He'd literally
that's where the Sean Avery rule comes in.
Right.
We get too far about hockey, but I'm just saying that the concussion thing is it for momentarily causes you severe disorientation.
For sure.
So if Tua had the concussion last week, he was completely disoriented for any time after he had that concussion.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because he had one earlier in the year, 2 earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And I had played hockey when I was 13. I had 2 concussions within 2 or 3 months, and the doctors basically said, you shouldn't play hockey ever again. And I said, go fuck yourself. I'll take a year off. I took a year off. I joined the play. It sucked. It wasn't hockey, but I had fun. That's what you do with head injuries.
Yeah.
If you fucking risk it and you come back, that's why he's so fucking disoriented. If you throw him out there for another game, his prediction will come true.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah. It'll happen.
Got to. If nothing else, that has to come through.
Yeah.
Well, who wants to watch a fucking game with Tua who has the potential of dying?
You hold your breath every single time, but you also watch it like a train wreck because people will turn into it just for that.
Question exactly.
People are sick. They'll turn into it just for that. They'll be like, oh, we're going to watch him die tonight.
So we've been saying since the inception of this sports podcast, Mortal Sportsman, that we were doing mortal locks.
Yeah.
The problem with that is we never explained what a mortal lock is. And I think me, Beej, and Johnny Akers have differing opinions.
You, Beej, and Johnny Akers? How many personalities do you have over there?
Me, Beej, Tim.
I was rectifying, making sure you know my voice is Beej.
Yes, you,
I think we have a differing opinion.
We're the only ones who listen. So.
Yeah, true.
No wonder you guys put me on this fucking chair. I got to defend myself against both of you in one episode. All right, let's go.
Let's do this.
So let's go to that guy. That guy. What do you think of when you say we're putting in our mortal locks?
So I would assume that this is about betting.
Yes, because this
Okay,
is a
I'm
betting
getting
show.
closer.
Definitely warm.
Yes.
Okay.
Warm. You're warm there.
It's probably like your stone cold lock. Like
Yes.
your bet that you are going to take to the bank.
That's what I was putting it
And
at.
next week when we
Yes.
pick this, or the next time we pick up the podcast, we'll say, "Hey, remember that? Yep, that actually happened."
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is
like my Jags money line over the Cowboys.
okay, but then you put
Which is
on.
a great bet.
I get that, and you
Okay.
put that as your mortal locks. I get
Sir,
that, but then
sir.
you go and then you put your locks, which are not mortal locks,
Not
but what
mortal.
you are also saying will hit, and you are terrible
At the locks.
at the locks. I
Okay, so don't bet the
my-
locks, bet the mortal
my
locks.
mortal,
exactly.
all of my picks that I have ever picked have come to fruition.
Okay,
I am
now-
on a fucking roll. I'm
Okay,
gonna knock
okay.
on
I'm
wood.
gonna
I
interrupt
hope you
there.
heard me knock on wood.
I heard.
And is a gambler, as you know, that guy.
Yeah.
He picks mortal locks on UFC bets where guys are like minus 180 and
That is
190.
not even. I have picked the Prime Minister of fucking
That-
the UK.
Was that a lock?
That was a fucking lock, and you can rewind the show, and I will pull it back. That was a motherfucking mortal lock.
Clip it.
And I've also called football games.
Okay, so
So I'm gonna just as the outsider. I'm gonna make a suggestion.
Yeah.
Make your mortal locks things that people watch.
Yeah.
Make it a major sports.
Well, yeah.
I only mortal lock football.
Okay, so
So the mortal lock of the Prime Minister came in on a different leg of the show.
People watch that on C-SPAN.
but that was a mortal
I
lock.
caught that one.
But
I was thumbing through my C-SPAN.
most of my locks are UFC because that is what I
Yeah, that's
follow.
what you watch, which is fine.
As I'm getting into football, I have made more
Yes.
picks on football,
You know what?
and I've also
So
hit
are
on
mortal
those.
locks as a general, is it an underdog bet that you're suggesting will happen? Similar to Jacksonville
That was what I did.
beating
Jags
Dallas.
beating Dallas was
That
my
was
mortal. Yes.
hey, that's
Is that where we want to
I
go?
was
Is
ballsy.
that your
Ballsy.
mortal lock is your
I
underdog
think.
that you think is going to
all
come
right,
through?
All right. I
And
think that
what's the time
locks.
span for? Like, what are you picking? Are you picking
So this is the
within
next 2 weeks.
Within the next 2 weeks. Okay.
So the next time we have a mortal sportsman, we can
Yes.
say something.
When we usually record once a week, and we'll get maybe a couple clips off of whatever the mortal lock would be that week.
If
Now
someone
that we're
could free
doing
up
it
his
here-
schedule,
Yes.
That
Now that we're
would
doing
be
it.
helpful.
Now that we're doing it down here. I
yeah,
feel
we have a
about
new
it.
studio. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody
Oh, yeah,
knows.
we've-
So
we
we
said
did club-
Beej's
plug
Round
that
Table.
one. Beej's Round Table.
yeah, for right now.
Beejafeth.
Yeah.
Beejafeth's Round Table.
Beejafeth. We'll get to that later.
I think of the locks as where you go a little more bold. I think of
Yeah.
so you have a mortal lock section where you have one mortal lock, the mortal lock of the week, the mortal lock of the episode, right?
Mortal, like
Mortal.
could die.
So the mortal
No.
lock is your number
I guess
one.
it'd
Take
be
it to
I
the
guess
bank.
it'd be the immortal. Well, everyone calls it the mortal lock for some reason. That's like the
Who's
ultimate
everyone?
do or die.
That's
lock.
what I was asking from the beginning. He's like, we got to do mortal locks when we started this show, and I was
Okay,
like,
so it's
okay.
a do or die lock.
Yeah, that's
So-
that's the one that you're
So
setting your
it
mortgage
is
on.
It is an under bet. It's an underdog.
No, it
bet.
doesn't have to be. That's what I'm saying. So the locks, I think, the locks should be.
Oh, he just quoted
bold.
in the air, just so everyone.
Air
air
quotes.
quote lock air quote should be those types of bets where you're taking one that people are a little unsure of, kind of an underdog
Okay.
bet.
So
Then
you-
the mortal is like you're hedging your house. That could be a favorite. It could be a money line.
You're hedging
favorite,
your house on it.
You're putting your whole house on that.
Okay.
So you get a couple locks. Like
So-
your
so your
regular
locks
locks,
are
and
your
your
fuck-off
mortal lock
bets.
is the absolute.
And the mortal lock is the
And
one
you
that
only
you're.
have one
yeah.
mortal lock.
Yes.
Okay.
So last week, whatever the last time I did it, I took a fucking both. I took a lock, air quotes, that wasn't really, it was an underdog bet as my mortal lock because I was that confident.
But it did hit.
And it hit.
It was
That
a-
should give me
But
mortal
that,
points.
but that was the
Bless
first.
me with mortal points on
But that was the first one in 2 months that you hit.
Okay, hey.
I'm getting a little better at prop bets now. I totally flunked the one Jags Jets. You can look at the Twitter account. It's bad. I went opposite on the Jags and had money on the Jets. Idiot.
Okay, so like you couldn't take the Jets to win the Super Bowl. as your mortal lock.
I mean,
It's
Good,
never
but you're
gonna
just
happen.
stupid because that
So,
if you were
okay,
that- there
so-
is a pointing scheme that we haven't come up with that we will come up
Okay.
with.
In the
So
new
Who
year,
comes out after the
our
year.
resolution for 2023 of this show is to come up with some type of point system
a point system.
where you have, we'll
Because your
say, 3
Jacksonville
locks.
bet was a very bold bet.
It was.
I would
It was
say
in
that
the preseason. It didn't count.
It
It didn't count. It was in the
Didn't
preseason
count.
year. And this has all been preseason, by the way.
This is the fantasy season where you didn't put any money in, and you're waiting till next season when you get all of your buddies in that everybody can put in $20.
There you go.
God.
That's
There
what
you
we're doing.
I only do leagues for 100 at least. But anyways, the mortal lock has to be the one that's like you can take whatever you want. It should be anything under minus 200 though. I think we should cap it at minus 200.
Yeah,
if it's a
'cause-
minus 180 bet, because come on, anyone can take that big of a favorite and win money because it's obviously that much of a favorite. Your lock should be anywhere between, we'll say, minus 130 and whatever. So it's got to be at least a minus 130 bet for the
Okay.
locks.
All right, so
So like spreads. Every spread is usually under.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right, so now because we're going into NFL and I'm not that savvy into it, and college playoffs I'm not that savvy, and UFC is not till 4 weeks from now. I don't have any mortal locks this week.
Wow.
One? Do you want me to give you 3 of them?
So let's go with Johnny Akers 3. Let's go with what. Make sure you specify whether they're mortal or locks.
Yes.
Would you take the Bears over the Lions?
Well, that wasn't on my list.
That wasn't on your
But
list.
Oh,
what
that was
the
like
spread?
Nostradamus right there. Like, did he pick the
So
Bears?
the coach of the Lions came out today and he was like, "We were the Bears last year
Mhm.
because we were the team that was awful, fighting for the number 1 draft pick, but playing every game, which they were because I love their fucking coach.
Yep.
He's the man. It's a trap game for the Lions. They have to win it. I
Yeah.
think they will. The Bears aren't good. The Bills, once again, just didn't look good in bad weather game. Josh was off last week. The Bears are still a bad team. They're thinking about sitting a lot of the starters because they're just going to call it in, try to get the best pick they can. And the Lions have to win the game. And I think it's in Detroit. So I'm going to go with the Lions on that one.
Just because
Fade the
Chicago's just out of it.
They called it in. I don't think that organization's in the position to be like, we're going to keep fighting through everything.
Yeah.
The Lions are made that way. Dan
Yeah.
Campbell made that
They
team fight
have
to the very
grit.
end. Chicago is not doing shit.
Got grit.
They got grit.
They got the
Grit.
grit, baby. It's about to bite some fucking kneecaps off. But
Some kneecaps.
no.
Okay, so go through your
Let's go
Three
with
locks.
let's go with 3 locks. 3 locks, mortal or on.
So the very,
Just give me-
very first lock that I have is actually it's a college football game. It's a lock. I'll
right.
save the mortal for last.
All right.
So the college football game that I like, and again, I know we talked in depth
It's
of
pro.
the
It's a bowl game.
of the playoffs. It is a bowl game on Saturday, but it is the Music City Bowl. I almost said
Music City Bowl.
Music City Miracle Bowl. As a
Yikes.
fucking Bills fan, it's still etched in my memory. I'll never fucking forget that. But it's Music City Bowl. It's not important whatsoever,
No.
other than the fact that Will Levis is not playing. Now, Will Levis is the starting quarterback for Kentucky. He's declared for the draft. This is what they do. This is what people do in college when they're not playing for a playoff game. They just don't play in the big game if they're going to the league. I don't blame them. You're going to fucking make a lot more money, and you risk the chance of getting hurt in these games. So, this game, Iowa versus Kentucky, over-under in a college football game, mind you, is 31.
It is
Okay.
31, yeah.
31! These are two of the lowest scoring teams, even with Will Levis. That's why I'd say Will Levis,
Yeah. He changed the stat.
not really even that important because they get into games with good defenses, which Iowa has a very good defense.
Yes, I would agree.
They're a big fucking 10 defense, and they can play well with anybody. Iowa is going to win that game. Minus 1.5 is the spread.
2.5.
But it's 2.5?
I see 2.5. ESPN's up the E, the S, and the
Those
E.
guys?
Yeah. I have 2.5.
I appreciate
It
that.
very well could be. Off the app that I got, which I won't
Yeah,
spread off
the
of.
spread is 2. Iowa minus 2.5.
Off the gambling app, which if you need help for that, look up the number. New York State puts it on TV enough.
Yep.
Off the app I have is -1.5. So I'd say -2. Either way, take them. They're gonna win.
Yeah.
They're gonna win by a lot. They're
Iowa?
gonna beat Iowa. They're gonna beat Kentucky because they were all Will Levis the whole season.
Yep.
And Iowa's defense is very fucking good. I almost made that the moral, but it's not fun enough.
Okay. Next pick.
I'm gonna say on that point. So I'll fade all of the big games until the finals, but I think we already got into those picks, at least for college football. Anywho, moving on to the next one that I had the Jets versus Seattle.
Oh shit.
Jets versus Seattle.
Okay. What do you got?
It's -1.5 Jets on mine.
Okay.
So I don't know what the other 4-letter sports network
let's
has. You can check it out.
Idiots.
But in a game versus the Seahawks in Seattle versus the Jets.
Are Jets in a win or out situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
So are Seattle pretty much at this point.
Okay.
They're all fighting for the same little 7th spot wild card. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 1.5.
The Jets are a different team when Mike White is quarterbacking them.
Ooh, that is a little bit of a nice hot take right there because I would agree.
And that he's back and he's healthy. He's a leader of men. He really is. He looks way more buttoned up. He's the best quarterback in the division that I've seen play.
Outside of Josh Allen?
Personally, no, against the Bills.
Against the Bills. I'm like, that's in the division.
Yeah, this fucking guy just can't get off Josh Allen's.
I suck them constantly.
Looks like
but
him
Mike
can't
White,
stop sucking.
I watched with my own 2 eyes him get basically assaulted 3 different times, and no way that man's internal organs are still healthy, but still came back in the game at the end of it and tried to fight his team back to win, and he was the better quarterback that day. As much as I sucked Josh Allen's dick, he outplayed Josh Allen that day. So I give all the credit to Mike White.
Over under is 42.5.
42.5.
That's the over.
Probably, I would say under.
Yeah, Jets really don't spend too much. Or they don't.
Their defense is unbelievable. Robert Sala's done a great job with that D. He's mastered what the skill player positions are in every single position except for quarterback. Like Mike White's not unbelievable, but in a game that's do or die,
You don't
I trust
believe in
him
Geno?
over Geno Smith. I trust him over Geno Smith.
Ooh,
As crazy it is.
I don't know. I trust
Geno's fallen. Geno's fallen.
He had a hot. He's definitely going to be the comeback player of the year.
He is because Mariota dropped off. Sorry, Beach. That was your boy.
I wish Mariota was better.
So with Geno Smith, you think that this is just the tires are just falling off the wagon? Like
The Jets are a better team. They both have really good defenses. I think they match up. The only thing that's going to throw this off is it's in Seattle. But look at the spread.
weather
I mean, they're
is
giving the Jets that much points on the
1.5.
road. Yeah, they're giving them points though. I mean, if it was, it's on the road, so they think they're a 4.5 point better team.
Yeah.
Vegas is saying that. I like the Jets as much as it's gonna, kill me if my lock loses and the Jets don't make the playoffs.
Okay, so that's your second lock.
It's almost like a fan hedge, which I do those
Let's
a lot.
take it. Let's get the next one.
Next one, Ravens Steelers. Don't matter who it is playing quarterback for the Ravens. The Ravens are a better team. Sorry, Swigs out there, my good buddy.
Yeah, I think Baltimore or
Ravens-
Pittsburgh's just gonna.
-2.5 at home.
Yep.
-2.5 at home against the Steelers. What?
Yeah, I take that line.
Again, almost the mortal lock of the week, but not tantalizing enough.
Yeah, Baltimore is what
But
5?
not
they're 10 and
tantalizing
5?
enough?
No.
They're 10-5 versus Pittsburgh, who can't figure out how to play.
Pittsburgh's technically also still in the playoff race right now, and there's a lot of Steelers fans that are almost like doing the two-and-on thing from last year, where they're making like Pickett's elite, because since week 12, he's the third-ranked PFF quarterback. And I'm like, okay, so you had to take the first 11 weeks out of the season to make that point?
Also, they played with
sick,
Mitch
man.
Trubisky for a while, too. So
Yeah, you're right. His overall ranking, I actually like Kenny Pickett. I think he surprised me. I thought he was going to be a huge fucking bust, but he ended up being pretty competent. He's smart. He's probably older than Lamar Jackson too.
So he's got 5 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
Yeah, exactly. They're saying he's elite because he's been the best PFF ranked quarterback, third ranked PFF quarterback since week 12. Anyways, it doesn't matter because Pickett's not going to win that game.
No.
The Ravens are. Whether it's Lamar, Huntley, me, you, Beach, it doesn't matter who the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Ravens are winning that game at home, at least by a field goal.
John Harbaugh's got
It'll be Tucker maybe hitting it. He's been
Yeah.
missing a lot of field goals this year, though.
not as consistent, but
Not
yeah,
as consistent.
John Harbaugh's got a game plan to beat a rival. I mean, Pittsburgh's
Yeah.
their biggest
At
rival.
home.
At home.
In Baltimore.
So you have to show up at
That
home.
line shocked me.
And
That
it's-
should be the mortal lock. It honestly
is-
should be the
But it's
mortal
not
lock.
tantalizing enough.
But it's not tantalizing
It is
enough.
the Sunday night game of the week.
Yes.
Well, it's the Sunday night.
So I
football
picked
game.
one from each slate. I picked a Saturday game for college.
Yep.
I picked the 4 o'clock game.
Oh, Jesus.
And then the 8 o'clock game. The
Is
1
your
o'clock
mortal
game.
really
The
on the
1
Monday
o'clock-
night game?
No, it's the 1
No,
o'clock
no,
game.
no. It's the 1 o'clock game.
You're
Oh.
taking.
Who am I taking?
Are you taking New England?
No.
Oh,
But that's a great game.
New
New England.
England-
New England is
Miami?
What's the spread?
2
I'll
and
give
a
you a
half.
quick one on that. 2.5. 2.5 Miami.
New England minus 2.5. Yeah.
New England is minus 2.5. That's how much they think about Teddy Bridgewater. Crazy. In that game, the value bet
Yeah,
as a
is New
gambler
England.
is no. The value bet is money line Dolphins. They're playing. Oh, never mind. They're playing in New England.
Yeah,
I
they're in
totally
New
forgot
England.
about that. That might be a lock too. Yeah, New
So
England's gonna win that
it
game.
is Miami plus 135, and it's New England minus 160.
They're giving Miami that much credit though that even without Tua, Vegas still
You
technically
have
thinks they're the
two
better team.
elite wide receivers. Mac
Yeah.
Jones can't fucking throw the ball.
Mac
His
Jones is a
coach
dirty
won't let him
fuck.
throw 30 yards.
We didn't even cover the Mac Jones bullshit with him fucking the compilation videos of Mac Jones
Throwing the ball.
being the dirtiest motherfucker in league history. That bag of milk arm motherfucker. Anyways, I won't touch that game because it means too much to me either way. It does. It just that's Tua's not going to play the rest of the year. If the Dolphins can win with Teddy Bridgewater, watch out.
So
Watch
Miami's
out.
lost.
That's a better
4
team
in
than
a
you
row.
think.
Miami has lost 4 in a row.
And if they win with Teddy Bridgewater,
If they
in
win
New
with
England,
Teddy Bridgewater,
whoa,
it's gonna be.
not
It'll
going
be
to happen.
It'll be big.
My lock, mortal motherfucking lock of the week is the Eagles minus 5.5, which in some sites is minus 6.5 against the Saints.
Yeah, that's a good bet.
Mortal fucking lock. Jalen Hurts
Not playing.
probably won't play. You never know. Now, this was recorded on the Thursday before. By the way, we have an NFL football game happening right now.
Yeah,
We
right
get a
now
quick
it's
update.
10-0.
10-6
or
at
10-6
halftime.
at
Dallas against the Titans. Dallas, look at it, 10-6.
I bet they
I
don't
should
know
have looked at that before I made my fucking Final Four prediction.
Tennessee.
You know what Tennessee started tonight? Joshua fucking Dobbs.
Yeah, Joshua Dobbs.
They benched Malik, their draft pick from this year, their number one
pretty
pick of the
much
year.
They don't have any faith in
They
that
started Joshua Dobbs. He was on the practice squad for the Lions a week ago.
guy. Yeah, so far he's
He's
thrown
starting
for
an
100
NFL football game for
He's
playoff
thrown for
implications.
163 yards, 143
What?
yards.
What? Is Josh Dobbs elite?
And Dak
we just-
Prescott's got 2
Two
interceptions.
picks. Dak Prescott's quarterback rating is 49.6 right now.
Just saying. I mean,
Oh, God, I'm a fucking blessed man to be able to
you
go
should
home
have
and watch the
picked the
second
under.
half of this game.
You should have picked the under in that game.
I faded that game because I thought that Malik was going to play and Dallas was going to roll him, but Joshua
I
Dobbs
would have
is
played
content.
the under.
Dak? Wow, that's insane. Okay,
There's still 80% chance to win.
I'm going to go back on my mortal lock.
You're going to go back already?
No. I'm saying
three.
I'm going back. I'm going to say I'm going back to my mortal
Okay.
lock. I
Okay.
misspoke. It's been late.
Okay.
There's a lot of different cans littered around this round table of BGFs. And I think that the Eagles, no matter who plays quarterback for them
Yeah.
at home against the Saints
Yeah, they should beat the Saints.
by 20.
You think they're beating them by 20?
Well, the lock is minus 6.5 or minus 5.5. But, look at how close they came to beating the Cowboys, which may actually be fucking frauds at this point because they're 10-6 at halftime and Dak's got 2 picks. But, those are 2 of the best teams we've talked about. They've been very good recently.
Yeah.
They thought, what's Jalen Hurts going to be? Who cares? They're a way better team.
Yeah,
And Dallas
they
is one of the
should
top
be.
teams in the league. They almost beat them. They came down to the last drive. So the Saints with Andy Dalton are gonna cover a touchdown against the hottest team, the best team, number 1 team, best record in the league. Even though they might be overhyped in the playoffs when Jalen Hurts finally comes back, right now, not in the playoffs, you should beat the fucking Saints.
Are they
Games.
sitting everybody, though?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
They haven't. They
They haven't
locked up
technically clinched the number 1 seed, which is huge. Home field advantage
home
throughout
field
the
advantage
playoffs is
and
massive.
the week off. Because if you get a healthy week off with Jalen Hurts, what is his injury? Is it a knee shoulder injury? You could use an extra week at home,
Mm-hmm.
just resting. letting the other
the more
idiots
that he
beat
waits,
each other.
though, the more rusty he could get.
That is the chance.
And if you get the number 1 seed, you already get the bye. So you're going to be playing a team that already won a game.
Yeah, they're coming in with a little momentum.
Yeah. It's almost like I want the number 1 seed as a Bills fan, but it's okay if you don't get it and you at least somehow find a way to get the 2. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the last 2 weeks. But
I think you want to ride in. What's the record of 1-0 or the number 1 ranked team? Because it's only been around for 2 seasons, right?
It's 1 season. They both lost last year. They're 0-2.
Yeah, so they're 0-2.
Packers and Titans. Titans were the number 1 AFC seed last year.
The
Lost first
Titans
round.
were the first one?
Lost
they
to the
did
Bengals.
have Derrick Henry.
Lost to the Bengals. And then the Packers were number 1 seed, and I think they lost to the Niners.
Okay, so maybe it's a little early to
6 and
pull that
7
out.
seeds went in there.
Yeah.
And beat the number 1 seeds because they were sitting on their asses for the last few weeks and weren't playing. But it depends on who the team is. Like if the Chiefs are the number 1 seed, the Bills are the number 1 seed, even the Bengals, you could say. I can see those teams at least being very competitive, if not winning handedly in their first game in the playoffs because they're such a good team.
Right.
In the NFC, for the Eagles,
Yeah,
who were a
you're gonna
fucking
rest for
9
2
and
years.
8 wild card 7th round seed last year, but this year have just strung up all these insane wins in a weak ass NFC conference.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
They
going to
might
help
be-
them or not.
They might be the oddball out because taking too much rest. If you're resting your guys now, you might not be in a position to be ready to win.
Yeah.
Where Dallas can't get the number 1 seed.
No. Well, actually, they might.
But if they did,
Philly would have to lose out, and
Philly
Dallas
would
would
have
have
to
to
lose
win out, I think. But yeah, this weekend on the Mortal, it's no fucking brainer. I gave you the Ravens one for free. That's a semi-mortal. That's like a half demigod. That's like a centaur, right? That's like some kind of half man, half amazing.
Right.
Who was a former and one basketball player who was awesome in the game. The mortal lock is the Eagles minus 5.5 against the Saints. Book it. You can put it towards next year.
Good.
We'll start the rankings when we record the next episode. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out from now until then what the point system is.
Yeah.
My very first mortal going into it.
This is
Actually,
you-
fuck, you didn't have it.
I didn't have any, so it's got to be
All
the
right, so
next
this is
one.
my last preseason.
Yes.
This is my last preseason mortal. Fuck it, give me 2 of them.
All right.
Give me Ravens minus 2.5 and give me the Eagles minus 5.5. Taking the fucking
Oh,
favorites.
You got
favorites.
solid.
All right.
You're parlaying them together.
Well, parlay them together. Clip this.
All right. Anything else anybody has to add on anything that we talked about?
One last thing, as a hockey guy, how are you
Yeah.
on Ovechkin? You think he's going to get some more goals this year? Is that 803?
So he is
He's still got
approaching the
90.
record.
Yeah, he's still got 90 to go.
He's got a long way to go, but here's the thing about Ovechkin is he's I think he's an 86 or an 85 birth year. So that means he's 37 or 36. He could play easily until he's 40 or
Yeah.
45. And he will not stop playing until he breaks that record. And the Capitals won't stop re-signing him until he breaks that record.
So it's his record.
because
again.
he truly is, and it's going to be blasphemous in a lot of hockey communities right now, the greatest goal scorer in the history of the game
You just lost all
Already.
Canadian fans.
already.
No,
I lost all
Ovechkin-
American fans too. He's Russian.
Ovechkin's he's
He's a
legit.
fucking boys with Putin.
Really close to Putin.
He is.
All right.
But people give him a pass because he's the greatest. He's the great 8.
So
Especially hockey fans, because honestly, I don't think they really give a fuck about the war in Ukraine. That's just
they're
from the
participating.
hockey fans that I know.
So Wayne Gretzky's at 894.
Yep.
He's got 802. He passed Gordie Howe this week.
Just past Gordy.
801.
He does. He's doing a lot of empty netters, which I don't like. I hate that when guys pass certain records with fucking empty net goals. It
Right.
pisses me off so much. But a lot of those ones he scored previously in the game to get the other goal.
Yeah. So I mean he's the only one that's close enough to break that record. I mean there's nobody else around.
Here's why I'm going to argue though that he is the greatest goal scorer ever.
Is it because of the sport has changed?
Yeah. Look at the fucking
I call
padding.
that a pick right there. That's a little.
Bang!
That
Picked
was
it right off.
That was great.
The sport has changed.
Has it changed? But the records in other sports like football or basketball, they're changing. Baseball, not as much. They're harder to hit home runs now. That's the main record everyone really cares about is the home runs. But in football, you're going to see passing records broken because of the games played and the fact that everyone passes now.
Everybody's got a West Coast
yards
offense.
records broken. You're going to see so many scoring records broken in the NBA because no one fucking plays defense, and the fact that all the rules are made towards scoring.
Yeah.
Luka just put up 60, 20, and 11 or whatever. Ridiculous. Those are numbers that you're going to now become more common with to break records. Hockey is so different now because everyone has way better padding. The goalies are way more skilled. They're bigger. It's harder to score goals. Even though they're making the rules to try to get more goals, they're like calling ticky-tack penalties to give people more power plays to increase goals, and it's happening.
Yeah.
It's still so hard to sustain a career of goal scoring like Gretzky did in a day where guys were wearing fucking street hockey pads and defensemen were wearing, Pyrex bowls around their fucking legs or whatever the fuck, and they weren't trying to block because it would hurt too much. Like they were wearing nothing. Yeah. So nowadays it's way harder to score.
Well,
Ovechkin did it during the hardest time to ever score.
Train.
He scored that many goals.
Yeah, these guys have been training a lot more.
Yeah.
They're
faster.
They're quicker. They're faster.
They're not even
bigger.
They're not bigger actually.
No?
That's the crazy thing about hockey is that they've actually gotten smaller. They've gotten more European. They've gotten faster. The physicality of the game is still there because of the Canadian and American players and some of the bigger Eastern European players, Russian players. They can get pretty big. Look at Charles. Yeah, but the game itself is more of like how much can you affect the scoring of the game. It's no longer about what your role is as maybe an enforcer was. There still are guys, but all those guys can still skate now.
Yeah.
You don't got a guy that can barely fucking skate and throw his gloves.
I mean, look
down
how big
every single
Tage
time.
Thompson is. He's a big fucking dude.
He's huge. And he never fights because he's more valuable on the ice.
Right.
You find players that are more valuable for you on the ice. Forget about the guy that's going to get you a morale boost halfway through the game, which I still love. I fucking love hockey
the fourth
fights. They're
line
great.
is different now than
Way
what it used to
different.
be.
You're penalty killers. You have to be a good shorthanded player. You got to be able to win a faceoff. You got to be able to, facilitate the game, forecheck well, back check well. That's your role. You're not there to score goals. You're there to forecheck. You're there to take out the other player's best, other team's best player. But hockey's changed so much more European since it used to be. But in Gretzky's day, it hadn't quite hit yet.
But
And
he
it
was
all about.
he was ahead of his time.
Oh, he was way ahead of his time with the way he thought about the game.
Right.
Gretzky's still the greatest player ever to play the game. No one will ever touch Gretzky's greatest player, greatest goal scorer of all time
Will be Ovechkin.
is Ovechkin. He already is. I'm just, even if he does or not break the record,
But like you
he's
said,
the most skillful goal scorer
Is this
ever.
the guy that you showed me?
The grade 8?
No, that's Connor McDavid,
Oh.
who is well on his way to potentially become. He's an alien. Connor McDavid's a fucking alien. We had him on our
Those
alien
videos
list.
were fucking.
He's disgusting. He's
Yeah.
got 3 or 4 more since I showed you that video.
That's retarded. It's ridiculous.
He has right now.
They're
Right now,
ridiculous.
if you look up the stats, NHL stats right now,
Yeah.
like people try to say like who's going to be the next, behind McDavid because he has probably like 15 more points and 5 or 6 more goals than any of the next player. He has more assists than anyone. He has more goals than anyone. He is just unbelievably the most. He is maybe the most gifted hockey player of all time. There's 3 different. I gotta figure out what the 4th is in the Mount Rushmore because I like things of 4.
Yeah, so
Greatest
now,
hockey player of all time, Wayne Gretzky. Greatest goal scorer of all time, Alexander Ovechkin. Most talented player of all time, Connor McDavid.
of all time, Connor McDavid, you're not going to go with
The talent-wise, Lemieux was up there.
McDonald?
Lemieux's up there. Oh, Madonna. Madonna was he was good. He was just a big guy. He's a big guy in an era where he could play physical, and if he did, he got knocked out by Mark Messier fucking going through the middle half the time. But Madonna was good. Patrick Kane, greatest shootout player of all time. American player, born and bred, Buffalo, New York. I don't know what else I would throw on that Mount Rushmore, but those videos.
Hey, listen, on the next podcast, we'll go into Mount Rushmores, and we'll do some Mount Rushmore, top 4 guys.
Should we do something different than the Mount Rushmore? I just thought of that. Should we do something that's
Yeah.
what else is there?
Triangle of Champions.
The Triangle of Champions.
The
No one's ever done,
Pyramid
a
of
3.
Champions.
The Pyramid of
The
Champions.
Pyramid of Champions.
Okay, we'll do the Pyramid
So
of
we'll do
Champions.
this. We'll have a top 3, and 2 of them are at the
At
bottom
the
of this,
base.
And one
of
is the
this,
top.
and one of them is the ultimate.
All right.
Yeah,
like
I'm game for that. So
I like that.
for all 4 of the majors, you want to put UFC in? We'll do 2 of the majors in the UFC.
Okay, so for the major, so we're doing all time pyramids of every major American sport And
Which
MMA.
two? We'll pick two because I don't want to bore people.
No, I think it's good. I think that's good shit.
I think
We haven't
4.
talked
I
long
think
enough
4
for
will
that,
be
but
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do
We got a little
4.
bit of
The 4
homework.
major.
4 majors. So we'll do NFL, obviously.
Yep.
We'll do NHL. Well, we just did NHL. So let's do
Oh, we can throw the NHL in there.
I'll do MLB. We'll do
MLB.
baseball.
Do baseball, football, fighting. We'll leave the NHL
Baseball,
out because no
football,
one
fighting.
really cares about
That's good.
hockey besides
baseball,
myself.
football, fighting. All right.
Okay.
Baseball, football, fighting.
All right.
A triangle of triangles.
I like it.
There we go.
All right,
All right.
folks.
So, that guy, thanks
Yep.
for being on again.
Appreciate it.
That guy.
Let's do one more last cheers, and then we'll get into our unfamous plugs. Cheers, guys. Thanks for coming on. In our new studio, Beaches Roundtable.
Mm-hmm.
Hit us up on leavingearthpodcast@gmail.com. That's Leaving Earth Pod, at Leaving Earth Pod on Twitter. You can hit up at Johnny _anchors or at Beejafef. That's at Beejafef. That's BEEJAPHETH on Twitter at Beejafef. And as always, please subscribe to Patreon. That's patreon.com/Leaving Earth Podcast. Do not forget the podcast. If you subscribe to Leaving Earth, please unsubscribe and subscribe to the podcast because that is not us. But anything else? Johnny Akers, you got anything else?
I got nothing. Go
Nothing?
Bills. Go Bills and a fucking great weekend of college football ahead of us. I'm fucking stoked.
That guy, any last words?
I hope Tua doesn't die this week.
Oh, no. I know he's probably going to. But if they play him in the playoffs, you know he's going to.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Peace. I threw you off there. Take it easy.
Peace.